think you have the ability to kind of say what kind of.
We will call this meeting July 23rd, 2024 fiscal court meeting to order. At this time, anybody that's out in the hall, come on in. We've got some seats here on the front row. That way you'll be ready for our presentation. So, hey, Mikaela.
Hi, how are you?
Come on in. Sheriff's coming in, I think. Okay. All right. That's, you can, if you want to, yeah. All right. Thank you, Elena.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you all for being here this morning. We will start off our meeting with our invocation, like we always do. And Magistrate Ellis, will you do the honors?
Thank you, Judge. May we bow in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your presence here today and in all of our committee proceedings, interactions with other governmental bodies, and of perhaps the greatest importance, our constituents throughout Boyle County. Just under 2 years out from now, our founding as a nation 250 years ago as the republic that it is today, established by courageous men and women, we have just come through the toughest times this past 2 weeks many of us have experienced in the last 4+ decades. With that in mind, let us all operate understanding that whatever level of government we represent, empowered anywhere in our United States of America, that our motto here in our great Commonwealth, the preamble of which is, "United we stand," must always prevail in the proceedings of this body. Heavenly Father, we ask you to heal our nation's ills. Be with all American leaders. Place in our hearts the spirit and biblical teachings that were the foundation of our nation, the Judeo-Christian tenets and principles that built America's and our state constitutions, our Bill of Rights, and the laws under which we operate on behalf of all citizens in Boyle County, in Kentucky, and our United States. We ask for your holy guidance in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Magistrate. Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum, and has this meeting been properly advertised?
Yes.
All right. You all will stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right. Next is our meeting minutes. And this is from the July 9th meeting. Is there a motion to approve? Magistrate Cullen, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Magistrate Ellis. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Okay, now we will have our budget transfers. Ms. Shannon?
We have a total of $39,302.53 in budget transfers.
I make a motion we approve the budget transfers as presented.
Okay, we have a motion by Magistrate Gay. Is there a second? Second by Magistrate Harmon. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Cash transfers.
Okay, I have 3 cash transfers. First, from the general fund to the road fund, $67,000. The next one is from the general fund to EMS fund, $85,000. And the last one is from general to the fleet fund, $3,500.
Okay. Motion to approve the cash transfers.
I'll make a second.
Magistrate Sleeper and second by Magistrate Gay. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Now we will approve our bills. Ms. Elena?
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, your bill total in your package for this meeting is $389,276.88. going to be adding on a $5,000 sponsorship for the backpack program for the kids. That's going to bring you to $394,276.88. And then we're also going to go ahead and disperse the full balance owed to Parksville Water District for the rest of their money, and that's going to bring you to a total of $755,174.88.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the bills?
I make a motion.
Mr. Bowder, is your second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gay. Any discussion on the bills? Going once? Going twice? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Elena. Thank you. All right, and now we come to the time in the program I've been looking forward to. I don't know if everyone knows, but this July is a very special month for our EMS because it celebrates its 30th year anniversary as a paid service in Boyle County. And the first thing I want to do is introduce someone. Around 1993, going way back, there was a certain person that was campaigning for county judge executive. And one of the topics of his campaign was the idea of a paid emergency services department in Boyle County. Now, this topic was met with great resistance due to financial constraints, possible tax increases, and other things that people get upset about. Nevertheless, he persevered, he won the election, and he fought for giving Boyle County citizens quality service with the paid staff to respond to emergency calls. That one innovative idea has helped to save hundreds, if not thousands, of Boyle County residents in the last 30 years. On July 1st, 1994, a paid Boyle County Emergency Services was born under the leadership of County Judge Tony Wilder. We owe a debt of gratitude for his foresight, his unwavering commitment, and his dedication to the people of Boyle County. And at this time, I would like to recognize County Judge Tony Wilder, if you will come up and present a plaque to you honoring your 30 years of beginning a quality service that continues to today in Boyle County Emergency Services.
I'll be. Thank you.
Do our photo ops.
Crazy about that lady. Can you Jesus, what the hell?
Watch out, Jamie's in the picture too.
There we go. That's right.
Yes, I would love for you to say a word.
Around here.
We'll put this right
You
here.
ain't got many options
I
over
think
here.
Jason's gaining on us too.
Now, I appreciate that. That's a wonderful recognition, but I'm going to tell you, this is a much bigger story than me. And sure enough, these public policy matters don't happen unless you got leadership and you got somebody carrying the ball. But to commemorate something properly, you really kind of got to talk about the history just a little bit, if you'll permit me.
And I was
Members of
hoping
the
you would
court.
do that, yes.
You know, Boyle County, 30 years, it's hard to believe it's been 30 years, but people forget, and there's so many in our community that probably don't even know how we did operate emergency medical services
Right.
before the paid EMS. You know, we had a station of volunteer, multi-generational, dedicated people to our emergency medical care across the county. It was Junction City, Parksville, Forkland, Perryville, and Danville. All volunteers, all had jobs. They all had to be EMTs at the time, and that was our level of care.
Yeah.
You know, basically, as many of you may know, EMTs can only do certain limited things. And most of the time, it was a matter of getting there from your job on time to the scene and only delivering oxygen and whatever, you know, remedial things you could do at the time. Maybe in some cases, you had to do the pushing and the CPR and that kind of thing to save lives. That's where we were. Now, I came from, my brother was deputy coroner. We were in the funeral business, my family. I was a volunteer fireman for years, and I got to observe what was going on. And I was convinced we needed great people, passionate people we owed a great debt to, these volunteers. I believed we need to enhance our care level because we were losing people, not because we didn't care and these people didn't have the energy and the passion. We just didn't have the way to deliver the care. So that's the reason I was motivated to do this. And sure enough, there were issues. Our folks in the volunteer service, some of them may have taken offense to it as if they weren't doing it properly or providing enough care. That was a tough one for me to overcome. We had a former magistrate say it was going to break the county. Going to break the county. We did it. But I knew in my heart we had to do it. And along came a young man from over in Lincoln County in Boyle, Houstonville area named Mike Payton. Now he knew that I campaigned on this issue. That was one of my little platforms. And he came to me one day and he's dedicated his life to EMS. And he was working with the Chesapeake County system at the time. Was he deputy director at that time? No?
Yes.
And he came to me and said, look, I'd like to help you. And I said, young man, you don't know how important your visit is to me because I don't know how to set that up. We're starting from scratch now. And we had some equipment, you know, and these volunteers weren't funded by a tax like the fire department. And the fire department is wonderful here, we all know that. But they had 10-cent tax forever. This was county supported and going out with a boot on the street, getting money. That was our EMS. That was our first stage of medical care to an injured person. So we started out, and Mike was of great help. And I know we have two, Jeff Stiff and Malcolm, I know are here that were the originals, 1994. And I want to give them a hand. Volunteer, okay. Sorry about that.
We've got several. We're going
Yeah.
to give some tickets
And,
to.
okay, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Gail Boyle, who worked for me in the judge's office. And at the time we were transitioning into this, and I'm telling you, you can imagine setting up $1 million operation with multiple vehicles, delivering the most important service I think that a public government can do, public safety and health. You can imagine the transition, what it took. Thank goodness I had Mike Payton, I had Gail, and I had people, the volunteers who knew how to do it. We just had to set up a new way of delivery. And in July, in 6 months, it took us 6 months in July, that was 6 months after I started, that we were an advanced life support certified service. That was unheard of at the time. Now, when I say advanced life support, that's paramedics on the job that can do everything the emergency room can do out there in the field. I don't have to tell you, I'm immensely proud of it. Immensely proud of it. But recognition goes to all these people that
That's right.
worked those shifts and laid out there at that place. Listen, we didn't have the best facilities. Start out with.
It's still
Our first little
Oh, yeah,
place
the
was
first
out there
one,
on the hill behind the city
Yeah.
fire department,
Right.
and we had to make shift bill balls. We did a lot of the work ourselves
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
So I think it's just important to recognize the history if you're going to commemorate this, and I want to thank you all for it. And I want to, as I told Judge Bottom, I want to thank my successors for standing by this institution and this service, this agency, because again, in my mind, one of the most important things you do in public service is deliver emergency medical care and public safety. And that is the top. So thank you all for the recognition. Keep them going.
Yeah.
Keep them the best, because I can tell you now, if you were to take it away, you'd hear about it.
Oh, gosh, yes. We don't want to take it away.
And I stood on this floor back 5 years ago and related a little personal story.
Yes.
And so, you know, when we committed to doing that, I never thought maybe one day, I thought maybe some of my family would be affected in a positive way. Well, it turned out to be me when I had that coronary event in 2019, and they saved me.
Yeah.
So, you know damn well this is important to me. So I want to thank you all for the recognition, but remember, it was all those people that served.
Absolutely.
And Mike Payton died way too young.
Yeah.
Way too young. But he needs the credit too for guiding and supplementing the whole process on that's how we got started quicker than we should have ever been able to.
Right.
To
But
develop
we do
this.
want to thank you and honor you for having the vision to get this done and to get this started and to provide quality care through Boyle County EMS to all of our residents. So,
And thank you for
Well, thank
continuing
you.
your support.
Judge, before Tony sits down,
yes,
Thank you.
don't sit down.
don't sit down.
Congratulations. 100 years ago, actually 1965, when I first went to Georgetown College, how many of y'all know the history of coffins being made in the United States? Johnson Furniture Store, which dates back
I'm really interested in how this story ends.
which dates back into the 1800s and succeeded all the way through the 60s and perhaps might still be available today. Johnson's funeral home was also attached to Johnson Furniture Store, where coffins were made back in the 1800s. Johnson was a fraternity brother, but a generation out from me. And my fraternity brothers drove the 1959 Cadillac hearse from the funeral home. And they would go out on my buddies.
That's what used to be.
And they were not qualified for anything but driving. And they would go out on I-75 on a Friday or Saturday night, and they, Dr. Grant, they made the decision on going to the hospital or going to the funeral home. The progress, thank you, Judge Tony, is just phenomenal. And in my healthcare career, I watched the legislation that moved from guys driving cars and trucks to ultimately every level of care that all of you who are part of this give us. So God bless you all. Tony, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay, and now I would like to recognize the first members of the 1994 EMS team. Not all of them could be here today, but I do want to read each one of their names to recognize them as being the first team. We have Paul Roughton, Malcolm Miller, Tony Hall, Shane Christopher, Marcia Frantz, Patsy Shepperson, Alan Bottoms, Jim Rinaldi, Ronnie Hilliard, Joseph Barboa, Marshall Singleton, J.C. Pendleton, Mike Payton, Jeff Stith, Lee Burton, Johnny Cooley, Jeff Reardon, Randy Luckett, Brad Ellis, and Gail Boland. So those are the originals. There's a picture of them out in front of the station. And there are some with us today, and I would like to recognize each one of you all that are here with a certificate of recognition. It's in recognition of your dedication, commitment, and outstanding service. We honor your contribution to the foundation and success of our emergency medical services. And the first one is Malcolm Miller. I'll do them all out and we'll take a group photo. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right, so just stay up here. Brad Ellis could not be here today. He had a doctor's appointment. J.C. Pendleton. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just stay up here. We're going to take a group picture. Okay. Jeff Stith. Yes, sir. Thank you for being here today. Paul Roughton. My old buddy Paul. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Gail Bowling. Miss Gail. Thank you. Mwah. Yeah, love you too. Patsy Shepperson was going to be here today, but she fell and broke her shoulder or her wrist, something with her arm, so she couldn't be here today. She said to tell everybody hello, though. And Alan Bottoms. I don't think
Alan's not here.
Okay, all right. So if y'all will, well, can I go over there, or you want to come here?
I think
Okay.
fill in
Y'all
this.
can come in here and fill in the center.
I'd like a better picture.
We'll get our group photo, and Tony, you join us.
Picture looks a little different than it did 30 years ago.
Tall ones in the back.
And you know, I must say, you know, people talked about how it was gonna cost us and the tax and all that. We quickly learned that there was a way to bill insurance companies for runs.
Yeah.
This lady
Yeah,
right here
Uh-huh.
knew how to do that.
She got the money.
And that made a big difference.
Now, who can you not see?
It's hard.
If you knew what else she had to put up with.
Oh,
Oh,
short people up front.
Yeah, that's great, right there. Got some kind of glare on my phone, I'm trying to.
It's from these two over here.
Hey,
We good? Okay. Thank you all again. We appreciate your service to Boyle County. Yes.
I mean, okay, I still live here.
just keep using that road gauge.
Yes, I will.
I'm going
Thank you all for coming today, and thank you all for your service.
One of your buddies, so. Oh, yeah? Broadcasting County at the hospital. Oh, great. Steve, sir, and I was talking about you a little bit. I'm sure Bob will just.
They'll find us money for
Mike, I know they've cleared the room, but would you like to comment anything on the current EMS service?
I think Judge Wilder did good, and I think you can see where all passion comes from for the people. We're standing on the shoulders of the giants that were before us, with Brett Ellis, Malcolm, and Michael Payton, and we couldn't do it without all the judges' support, magistrates. Without those tools, we wouldn't be able to do what we do today. So.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Awesome service. Awesome service. All right, well, that's the highlight of my day right there. Recognizing our EMS. Okay, Magistrate Ellis, you have a letter that you would like to propose to the court.
Thank you, Judge. Everyone has in your information for today's meeting the draft letter that was requested by the judge so that you all would have some understanding of exactly what we'd like to propose to the Parks Commissioner, Russ Meyer, in Frankfurt. In Frankfurt, you have to take things in very careful stages. The property is actually, Counselor, held by Finance Cabinet, if I'm correct. But we need to start with the Parks Commissioner, who, by the way, has been out to the Crawford House and all those grounds, the acreage around it, several times in the last 3 or 4 years, as Harold Edwards spearheaded the deaccessioning of the Crawford House itself to a private individual. But several acres around it that lead all the way down to the Chaplain River, including the area of the Boy Scout camp, which I get calls on rather frequently from folks who wish that something could be done to restore that Boy Scout camp. That acreage is a jungle now. The wild honeysuckle is as big around as my arm. The trees are actually growing up into the old Boy Scout camp. And it's virtually inaccessible just within the past 15 years, because I used to go down there to the river, and now it's just grown up so severely. The state owns it. The state is doing nothing with it. And several of us have gotten together and believed that it would be a wonderful county park. We once owned all that property, and it got out of our hands into the state, but not only the property, but the Crawford House were falling in disrepair. This would be a county-owned piece of property. Ideally, we would get it back for what the state paid, and I think that was $1, if we can succeed in going to Frankfurt and persuading them. The history of that area, where the everlasting stream down below a 90-degree cliff was the reason that the Crawford House was used by the generals and others involved in the battle, and all the Confederate troops bivouacked down there because that was one of the only sources of water, just as we have now a drought. In October of 1862, once the battle started, people died at Doctors Creek trying to get drinking water. So that history needs to be more than preserved, and it's a great opportunity for West Boyle County to have a nice county park. Thus I responded, as you recall, 2 weeks ago to the judge's idea that everybody needs to see something in terms of what we would send to the commissioner, and then ideally with his help and support, which he has given several times by being on site with us and along with Daniel Elliott. That would be our opportunity to then go to finance with his assistance and perhaps secure that wonderful area for the county. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. I am happy to send this letter of seeking support for that, if that be the pleasure of the court. So, is there a motion to approve? Okay, call a vote. Magistrate Boner, is there a second? Magistrate Sleeper, any discussion?
So, is that gonna be, we can turn that into a park or whatever, where our county's gonna have to maintain that?
That would be correct. It would be a pretty significant, where's my buddy Roger? There'll be some chainsaw activity down there, no question about it. But I'd say in the first wave, we would just clean up the area of the Boy Scout camp. People have told me, including Harold, that it would be easily restored because it's a concrete block building. They say it has a magnificent fireplace in it. And I would think later on down the line, anything we might be willing to invest, I don't recommend it right now until we see what we have to deal with, but we would have a complete park down there.
How many acres is it?
I seem to
I'm not
recall
sure.
2.5 acres, yeah. And it has already a nice, very nice asphalt parking area where you can easily put 20, 25 cars and trucks.
Is the person that's restoring the Crawford house, is he gonna turn that into like a museum or something?
He is still making decisions. His name is Dr. Ted Steinbach from Louisville. I was there last week, and he was literally pushing a broom inside. He's a radiologist from Louisville, still active, but he and his brother are personally working on some of the restoration. But yes, he's going to either have a bed and breakfast, or in some ways make it a museum, or a kind of a combination. Those are the thoughts he has right now.
So by getting this land back, is that gonna like benefit him in his endeavor?
The judge and I talked about being very cautious that this would be available to the entire public, but it's just down a slight rise from the Crawford house, so I'm sure that just as others might do, he would reserve it if he were going to have anything special going on.
Yeah. It would kind of be like people reserving Constitution Square.
Precisely,
For events,
yeah.
I just didn't wanna like do anything that looked like we're trying to somehow benefit.
Right, yeah.
So-
We are very cautious, and I've had lengthy conversations with
It'll
Dr.
be very
Steinbach.
transparent. Yeah.
Who's gonna manage? Because Parks and Rec is, we gave that to the city to manage for us. How will this one be managed?
That's
Or
to
will this
be
go through,
decided.
determined.
Yeah,
will this, so possibly under Public Works?
more than likely. It'll kind of be like Constitution Square. Constitution Square is under Public Works, so yeah, it'll kind of be the same scenario.
Good question.
Yeah.
What's a horse doing when it's bow backing?
I'm sorry?
The horse is bow
Bivouac.
bivouac. What is that?
That means they're camped down there.
Okay.
Bivouac.
Man, let's use
We got
we need our thesaurus for that
We
one.
got to put Kentucky history back in the curriculum.
I had to recite a poem one time that was the bivouac of the dead, so I guess that's.
Wow.
Okay, there you go.
Guess it's something like
So
that.
they're bivouacking.
All right, any other discussion on the letter? All those in favor of sending the letter of support signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
I think I should abstain.
Oh, motion carries. Good morning, Mayor. Welcome. Okay, next is the Kroger Settlement. And Chris, did you have anything you want to say about this? Have you looked at it?
Kroger Settlement?
Yes.
It looked, I reviewed it.
Everything look good to you?
Everything looks good. I think you should go ahead and sign it.
Okay. What it is Kroger has extended a settlement proposal which would pay $1.2 billion to states and local governments in states where it does business to resolve the opioid claim. So this all has to do with the opioid settlement. We are only eligible to participate if the Kentucky AG agrees to participate in the settlement. The AG has not agreed to participate, but they said if we would sign the settlement paperwork, they will keep it on file, and if the AG does decide to participate, then we will automatically be enrolled in receiving settlement money. So that's what this is all about. So is there a motion to approve signing the necessary document to participate should the AG decide that Kentucky will participate?
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Bodnar, is there a second? Commissioner Harmon?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. I can just tell by the look in your eye who's going to second it.
My teacher used to look at me like that. She'd look over the
Yeah.
glasses. Mr. Harm.
Yeah. All right. Next is resolution dissolving the Joint United Way resolution. We decided at the last meeting that we would withdraw from that resolution. So Attorney Herron has prepared this one to dissolve that joint resolution with the City of Danville and the Board of Commissioners for United Way. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Magistrate Cullen, is there a second?
Second.
Magistrate Gay, any discussion?
I mean, I think, part of it is going to be a joint resolution, and Danville didn't adopt it, so
They withdrew, yes.
it would be not a joint resolution anymore. It would just be on us.
Just be us.
And I think that talking to everybody that, as far as appropriation of funds, that we think that we can handle that without designating it to somebody else that potentially would be taking a percentage or whatever of that. So.
Thank you. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Next, we have the resolution ending the solar moratorium. And once again, Attorney Herron has drafted this resolution. Is there a motion to approve the resolution ending solar moratorium?
I'll make that motion.
Magistrate Cullen, is there a second?
Second.
Magistrate Gay, is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Okay, next is Planning and Zoning Director, Mikaela. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Alright, it sounds like you all just want a quick update on P&Cs.
Yes, ma'am.
I've got some performance measures for you all. Let those get handed out there. Yeah, so I just put together some numbers for our fiscal year 24. So from July 1, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. You can see the breakdown for the City of Danville, unincorporated Boyle County, and then our total numbers for all types of applications and reviews that the Planning Commission does. If I had to guess, I would think these numbers are probably a little down from last year. We usually do a mid-year report, not a full report as part of our budget funding request cycle, so I didn't have time to put together one for the previous fiscal year to tell you for sure, but if I had to guess, I would think it's down a little bit. Really the major items that we've had come in as far as site plans is the hotel next to Super 8. They're proposing a new hotel out there. Most of our zoning permits, so we have site plans that actually go through planning commission, and then zoning permits, if it's under a certain square footage, it just is done as an administrative review. So it looks like we have a lot with the 24 in Danville, but a lot of them are actually temporary use permits for firework, tents, things like that. So it's a little bit deceiving that way. But we have had a few come in for, the church that's out on Lexington Road that's going up right now, the Grace Community Baptist Church. That's the one that you see in the county there. As far as construction plans reviewed out in the county, one of them was for Petrie Ventures. Those are the condos that went out by Shelby Green. And then the Stonegate developers, so that's the subdivision that's going in off of Old Houstonville Road, just south of Park Hills. So those are the two that we're seeing there. We did have that zone change also in the county for Kelly Griffith's property, which is on Old 127 and Knoblich Road. So that's that property out there that you all took. So we haven't gotten plans in for that yet. I think they're holding up, waiting for the sewer project to be completed so they can actually go forward with the subdivision plan. But
Can you remind us what that zone change was from what to what?
oh gosh, off the top of my head, I believe it's
okay.
ag to R1A.
Okay.
It was one of our single-family residential zoning districts, and I believe it's R1A.
Okay.
So that's our least dense single-family residential district.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, other things that have been going on aside from this. We're obviously working with the Bluegrass Head on our comprehensive plan. So that's coming along. I know you all haven't really heard about it in a little bit, but he has been working pretty diligently on getting some chapters together. We formed a comp plan committee with 4 members of the planning commission that's helping with the review. So there's been a lot of emails back and forth just looking at that. I expect the goals and objectives probably to come through in the next 2 months. So planning commission will have the initial hearing on that, and then we'll bring it to the legislative bodies. I'll get a draft out once we're at that point. So if you all have any comments that you want to review or give feedback, you can just give me a call once we get to that point.
How much longer do you think we have in the process?
I hate to put a time on it. I'm hoping maybe by the end of the year that it will be done. But we'll just see. We are going to have, I think, another round of public hearings, public meetings just with the future land use map and some of the land use sections. So that will add some time. And then, once the plan's actually adopted, it usually takes a few months to go through that process. But I'm hoping we'll have, at least a draft document that we feel is ready to be reviewed and hopefully adopted by the end of the year. So,
Thank you.
we'll see. The DHB, that's the Danville Architectural Heritage Board. Obviously, it's only applicable to Danville, but they just came in July 1. We just worked on the solar ordinance amendment, and so that's been reviewed and approved. We also did a change to our minor plats. So previously, all minor plats had to go through planning commission review, so I added a lot of weeks to the process. So we changed that back in October, so they actually can come through administrative review, and it's expedited the process immensely. As you can see, we reviewed 41 minor plats in the county, so that's 41 that didn't have to go through planning commission, and could be a little bit more expedited. So that's anything under 4 lots if they're not doing any major infrastructure projects. So just some minor farm plats, things like that. So. That's really all I have, unless you all have any questions or want to hear anything specific.
I got something.
Yeah.
Mikaela and I met last week, talked about medical cannabis.
Yep.
Back on May the 28th, a motion was passed by our fiscal court to allow medical cannabis. We took no action as far as medical cannabis, and it's going to be allowed to operate in our county, I think January 1st, 2025. Mikaela is working with the city to create some regulations regarding those facilities. And example, Tier 1 cultivator, how many square feet, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4, cannabis dispensaries and processors. I think that we should ask her to do that as well for the county, so we can establish some regulations, kind to be a joint effort, I think that'd be very important.
Yeah, I can give you a brief update on that. So I'm bringing it through for this Wednesday. I originally wrote it up just specific to City of Danville because I didn't think we'd want to do the cultivators. So have you all gotten trainings on these, or do you want me to break it out a little bit? So cultivators are where they're grown. The state designates tier 1 through tier 4. They're not issuing any permits on tier 4, so we put in the regulations tier 1 through tier 4, but right now they're only looking at tier 1 through tier 3. Tier 1 is under 2,500 square feet, tier 2 is under 10,000 square feet, tier 3 is under 50,000 square feet, tier 4 is 50,000 and above. So they're all required to be indoor growing facilities, so you're looking at more of like a warehouse type of facility. I had originally thought about just requiring it in industrial, which there's really not much in the county, but speaking with the advisory committee with the planning commission, we did look at doing tier 1 and tier 2, so that'd be under anything under 10,000 square feet, potentially as a permitted use within the ag, or just as an accessory use, so it could be done as part of a larger farming operation. That's how Fayette County did it, and then anything tier 3 or tier 4 would be a conditional use permit, so it'd have to go through the Board of Adjustment for approval. Besides that, processors, that's where, they take what's grown and they actually process it into forms that can be sold. That's really more of an industrial operation, so we were going to restrict that to industrial only zoning. And then the dispensaries, that's the retail portion of it, and so we're looking at industrial or highway business, so that's like the zoning district you see along the bypass or 4th Street. There's safety compliance facilities, so they can take and test any of the products that are sent out, and it's kind of the administrative oversight component. We did that all in industrial for now. I don't really know, I don't have a good sense of what that facility is going to look like or how it's going to operate, so I think we're protecting ourselves by keeping it industrial for now, but we can change it if, we find it's really more of a low intensive use, more of an office type of facility. And producers, I believe, is the last one. Let's get processors and producers confused. Sorry, I didn't bring my printout on it, but one of them is not permitted within Kentucky right now. It's where they can actually grow and process the materials on the same location. Right now, we require them to use separate facilities. So I've got them in our specific use regulations, but right now they're not getting permitted for. So that's what we're looking at. I plan to actually bring it to the county now too. I was originally just going to bring it to Kendall, but because I'm trying to get this through as quickly as possible, so we have it in place for January 1. But
Mikaela, it's my understanding that the permits are going to be issued per region.
Yeah.
And so, not per county, but per region. So we're part of
several
counties. So
yeah.
17 counties.
I think it's 17. It's basically the bluegrass.
So it's very likely that we may not even get permits.
Yeah.
For the initial.
I think they have to get 6 dispensary permits in our region, but then all the cultivators and processors and safety compliance facilities, there's a pretty minimal number. Mm-hmm. I think it's like 16 cultivators for the state, and it's not designated by region. Mm-hmm. And I forget the number for processors, but it's similar. They're pretty limited mm-hmm. on the number of facilities, so I think it's possible we could get a dispensary just with the number. I think 2 are going to go to Fayette County. That they said they can do up to 2, so I presume they'll give 2 to Fayette County. So we're really looking at 4 for those, basically all the surrounding counties around Fayette. So I think it's possible we could get a dispensary, but
we got a Chick-fil-A.
Hey,
yeah,
that's all we need.
But beyond that, I think our chances are probably limited, but we want to be prepared in case they do come. So
you need that in form.
That's what I was going to say. We need a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to go ahead
and let Mikaela develop the regs for the county.
Yeah. So we'll have planning commission here on Wednesday, and then I'll send it over to you all, and you can do your readings on it. And if you want to make any changes, we can work through that together.
Okay, I have a motion by Magistrate Cullen, a second by Magistrate Ellis. Any other discussion on Medical marijuana.
I monitored
Medical
several.
cannabis.
I monitored several of the proceedings during the interim session on this, and there was one lady who talked about her young child having seizures 20 and 30 times a day, and they went out of state to be able to get the treatments that were needed. With a background in healthcare administration, I have cautions about this because I'd suspect, as I could, a third of the people in this room could conceivably qualify to receive medical cannabis. And I've been teetering back and forth on whether to support this or not. But I think with the compelling testimony that she gave about her child and others, many, many others, as I observed what was going on in Frankfurt past this, I think it's essential that it be passed. Dr. Grant, I'd like your thoughts on it.
As far as
The viability, the appropriateness, the approval process by the physician community.
We've not received any really input, training, or so forth on this. KBML doesn't really have any guidelines. I would assume that it's just going to fall under formal medical judgment and then be regulated, through the DEA. I don't know what schedule they're going to make cannabis. I assume it's probably going to be Schedule 2 or 3, and then it'll be regulated through the DEA and the state. And it will probably be required to run Caspers and monitor like quantities and so forth. But they've really, I've received nothing as a physician as far as what the expectations are from the medical community.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Mikaela, thank you very much.
Hold on, Mikaela, I got a couple questions for you.
Uh-oh.
I'm patiently waiting. All right. No, it's okay. One, you and I kind of talked about this off premise. I'd like to formally ask that you look at the sign ordinance to see if we can do something where we offer some sort of variance, work with the city. It'll directly impact the city to see about offering some sort of site or all-site sign variances. Finn's Ice Cream was the one that comes to mind, but there's a couple others that are out there. It's kind of confusing. Some are allowed, some aren't allowed, some are grandfathered in, some aren't grandfathered in.
I think most of the ones that exist out there are probably grandfathered.
Correct.
I can't say definitively. But
Correct, but it sets a weird kind of like, okay, am I allowed to do this? And then, they have to flood your office and say, well, it was grandfathered in, that's why they were allowed before, they're not allowed now. So if you could, if you need me to make a motion or whatever, to review the sign ordinance and see if we can do something with off-premise signs, especially as we kind of get back into within maybe the city limits of the various places that they have, smaller businesses kind of going in, not into residential areas, but
That are not right on the main
right,
road.
right, that aren't seen right away or whatever, but that are very crucial to our economy here and also the things that we offer. Finn's is an example that it's an area that has been revitalized. You've got that great ice cream store back there, and with that there could be opportunities for more things. It's just people, as a former business owner, it's hard making sure people know where your location is and finding it, and so with specific guidelines on what we will allow as an off-premise sign, I'd like to see planning and zoning look at that if possible.
Would you like that in the form of a motion?
Chris, do you think that would be best?
I think that'd be good.
Yeah, so I'll make that motion then.
All right. Motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
I will get right on that.
Thank you.
One more.
One more.
Yeah, sorry. I keep trying to run out.
Oh, I know. It's okay. This is more of just a fact-finding mission. We had looked before when people were breaking off or subdividing their property, we only allowed 5-acre lots. And then
Yeah.
at some point, we started doing 1 acre lots
Yep.
out in the county. Would you be able to look and see the rationale with the 1 acres and possibly what it would take to go back to only allowing 5 acre?
Yeah, I mean, to go back to 5 acres, it would just take a change to the zoning ordinance amendment. I'm honestly not quite sure what the rationale was for it. Our comp plan currently kind of indicates that they felt it was too small and should be looked at, so I think we have some policy basis for it already within our existing comprehensive plan. I know there's been a lot of talk about this. I was kind of holding off for our new comp plan to be done, but with the length of time it's been taking, if you want me to go ahead and start looking at that, I can take a look at what other counties within the Bluegrass area does. I think we're probably one of the smallest off the top of my head. I think 5 acres or plus is more of the standard, but. Yeah.
My only reservations about that with the cost of land in this county, and I'm kind of surrounded by an area where 1 acre tracts have been let. A lot of people would love to build a home already, and it's exorbitant cost. And to have to buy 5 acres as opposed to 1 could be cost prohibitive.
We have 2 separate agricultural designations. We probably all don't know that because we have very little rural residential within our county right now. So that would be my argument for that, is that they would have to go through pay the expense of going through the zone change, but it would give the fiscal court a little bit of control of whether they feel that the infrastructure is appropriate for that area to support smaller lots. So if somebody did want to do, say, a 1 acre lot, you could take into account whether you feel the road is sufficient, things like that. So it would give a little bit of control over it. So I think we already kind of have that protection within the way our ordinance is written now. Right now, our rural residential is 40,000 square feet minimum lot size, and our ag is 50,000 square feet minimum lot size. So there's really not much difference. That's why I think no one goes to the rural residential zoning district. But that's one way we can look at it. Other places do things like family conveyance, so they give like a waiver for that. So there's different ways that we can look at it. But
I think it's crucial to kind of, especially when you start talking roads, we have a couple that have become very problematic because it's a small road and now you're carrying a lot of traffic on that road. And so I think this is one of those ways where we can kind of, we can protect, those roads and see if they need to be improved before we start allowing stuff.
Clarify for me what you're asking, Mr. Cohen.
Which time? On this one?
On the lot size, yeah.
We allow 1 acre cutoffs, but going back to the 5 acre.
Okay, so from 1 to 5. I thought that's what you said, but I want to make sure. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's already part of our comp plan.
I think there's
Proposed.
There's language that says basically look at the smaller lot size because it's allowing for urban style development within the unincorporated county. So.
And then we start having problems with water, roads, services, other things like that. Anyway.
So that's already ongoing.
So I'll make that motion.
Do we need a motion if it's already part of the proposed plan?
It's proposed in there, but it's far out.
Second.
A motion by Manager Combs, second by Manager Gay. Any discussion?
Clarify your motion on what the end result would be.
I'm not looking for an end result. All I'm looking for is to move from subdividing to 1 acre lots back to 5. Previous planning and zoning person did that, and I was never sure why. And it's put a stress on lots of various areas throughout the county. So my motion is to look at going back to 5 acre lots instead of 1.
Okay, Mr. Ellis?
Then that would mean that anyone of modest to average.
No, she just gave you a workaround.
Would be paying well over $100,000 for a 5 acre tract in this county.
She just gave you a workaround.
So I would oppose that motion.
Rural 2, right, Act 2. All right.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor further motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Nay.
2? Okay, motion carries. Anything else from the court?
All right.
Thank you, Mikaela.
Thank you all.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, at this time, I want to insert something before we go into our board appointments. I would like to recognize Chris Stratton, Chief Deputy Chris Stratton. Deputy Stratton is going to be retiring here shortly, and we would like to recognize your 15 years of service to Boyle County Sheriff's Department and to the citizens of Boyle County, and thank you for a job well done, and wish you the best of luck in the future, whatever you endeavor to do.
Thank you.
So. Yes, sir.
Judge, Chris
Yes,
is much bigger and stronger than I am, so I could not twist his arm to stay this morning. But he's going to be an SRO over in Stanford. And
KSD.
he will,
KSD.
I'm sorry. And he will be mentoring young people, and I think that's laudable. Thank you.
Sheriff Bottom, do you want to add any comments?
Yes, I would like to say, coming in as a young sheriff and not knowing how it was going to play out with, who was going to be my chief deputy, and Chris came to me and said, I'll be here as long as you want me to be here, and I truly appreciate you leading me and guiding me and helping me make a very strong sheriff's office, and I couldn't have done it without you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sheriff Bottom. Okay, next we have some fire board appointments for some vacancies on the fire board. And the first one is Brian Stay.
Stand on up.
Is there a motion to appoint Brian Stay to the Fire Protection Board? Magistrate Ellis, second by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. I had to make it official first, Brian.
You want to stand on the chair?
Stand on the chair, yeah, I'll put on my tiptoes, how about that? All right, thank you so much, we appreciate you taking on that task.
No glare up there.
And then next is Angela Frisbee. And see, Brian's term ended June 30th of 2026. Angela's term will end June 30th of 2027. And is there a motion to approve appointing Angela Frisbee to the fire board?
So moved.
Magistrate Gay, is there a second? Magistrate Sleeper? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. I've never had a not vote for it. So.
I was a little worried.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much. Appreciate you taking on that task.
My pleasure.
You all will be contacted by the fire protection chairman, I guess, and let you know when the next board meeting is taking place. And Lynn Ty is here, and she was recently elected as a property owner to the fire board as well. So thank you, Lynn, for taking on that task. Okay, next, EMS Director Mike Rogers. I think Director Rogers has a presentation.
Angela and Brian, y'all don't have to stay.
Now, if you all would like to leave, that now would be a good time.
Can't see Lynn back there.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank y'all.
See you.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Judge, and thank you, Magistrate. Let me talk a few minutes today. We would like to talk about a challenge coin presentation, and it's the criteria for the challenge coin is pretty simply laid out by for us in EMS compared to fire service. Cardiac arrest is the structure fire of EMS. So For the criteria to receive a challenge coin is the patient has to be not breathing and with no pulse, so therefore be clinically dead at the time. But the crew that responded on this day, the patient was not breathing and was unresponsive. They consulted with our medical director, Dr. Durant, transported the patient quickly to Ephraim, where the patient did receive ECMO and then was later discharged home with a modified Rankin score of 2, which means they have to be cognitively still there and near normal, but they were, so that's a success for us. But the clear success is that at the end of the day, the patient is at home with their family, still sitting at the kitchen table. So we would like to present challenge coins to the lead paramedic on this was Amanda Taylor, which is one of our night supervisors. Additional crew members, it's Devin's shift, so paramedic Devin Mukes is the captain on that shift. And then EMT Cassie Centers, and then James Holder, EMT Grace Simonson, and not here is Josh Ryder. So we would like to present a coin. On the back of it, it just says, in recognition of an excellent patient care resulting in a life saved. And this is why we do what we do, and we couldn't do it without these providers. So I'd like to have them come on up and receive
Come on up.
Come on. And we would like to thank you as a court for what you do for Boyle County citizens and your jobs. And it's a day-to-day, y'all just come on up here, we're going to get a group picture. It's a day-to-day task. You never know what you're going to get on a run. And you're always prepared and always qualified and trained to do whatever task happens to come up on your shift. So we appreciate everything that you all do. And
Judge,
congratulations. Oh, sorry. Thanks, Jason.
Someone's got you. Where's that there?
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you, Mike.
Cassie is actually in paramedic class, finishing up.
Awesome.
Grace is going to start this year.
Yeah.
Billy just finished advanced EMT.
All right.
And these two are ready.
Well, I've said it before, I'll say it again. We have a great crew. And second to none, we put you all up against anybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We have a fantastic EMS.
See y'all.
Y'all have a good day. Thanks so
Mike's
much.
buying lunch, he said.
Thanks, Mo.
The other item I have on the agenda today is just permission to get an ambulance for a 2026 delivery date. It could be the first part of the fiscal year or the next fiscal year. So just seeking permission.
Make that motion, we approve it.
Have a motion by Magistrate Cullum, second by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sheriff Bonham, second quarter report.
I'm here for you guys to acknowledge my second quarter report. That fast.
So acknowledged. All right, anybody have any questions of the sheriff?
Nope, we acknowledge it.
You've been acknowledged.
Acknowledged.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay. Joe Myers? Joe out in the hall?
Steve?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I forgot to say good morning, everyone.
You calm down.
We've had a busy morning.
They good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Janice.
You're welcome. Yes.
Welcome, welcome. Come on in, get your seat.
I should really say it was Janice's report we acknowledged.
That's right, that's right. With Janice's report. On behalf of the sheriff. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, folks. On behalf of the Ethics Commission, I come today today asking for your action and grants relief. We've had a vacancy on our commission, and under Section 23J, position has not been filled within 60 days, and we're not pointing fingers or anything. Filling positions, as you know, sometimes takes some time. My understanding is Judge Bottom has been helpful to us in finding someone that we feel is an outstanding candidate. Ms. Teresa Nolet. She is, my understanding is the judge has notified the other jurisdictions. We have been waiting, and we had our quarterly meeting last Wednesday. I asked the commission members, do we want to act on this or wait? They unanimously said we want to act on this and present this nominee to you all. Under Section 23, the remaining members of the Ethics Commission in such a situation shall fill the vacancy, but subject to the approval of the fiscal court, and that's why we're here today. Ms. Nolet is a person I know personally from my church. She's a very active person in our community. In fact, she rescheduled an appointment today with CASA to be here. She's someone that has skills, I asked her, that would be very helpful to us in things such as training, tech organization, could be a very valuable member to us. I know her personally, I know her husband from church, people of impeccable integrity. I wholeheartedly hope that you would seriously consider her and approve her today. She is here and available if you have any questions of her. But at this time, Judge, and again, thank you for your help in all of this.
Sure.
We'd like to present Ms. Teresa Nolet for your consideration to fill the vacancy on the Ethics Commission.
Okay, Teresa comes to us retired from Corning after 41 years of service. Been a resident of Danville and Boyle County for 35 years. She is active in the community as a volunteer CASA, member of Resilient Boyle, the Women's Network, Kentuckians for the Commonwealth, and Homemaker Group. She is also active in St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church, and she has served in several parish ministries and committees. So I would entertain a motion to approve Teresa Nolet for the Ethics Commission Board. Motion by Magistrate Gay, second by Magistrate Harmon. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Congratulations, Teresa. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Present you with a certificate. Your term ends on December 31st, 2027. Okay. All right. So we'll get a photo. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate you agreeing to serve. All right. All right, and thank you, Court. Is that on Joe Head? Okay.
There's supposed to be an update, but I guess that's the update.
Don't. Oh, okay.
Okay. We'll move on.
All right. CVB Director, Kendall Clinton. Come on down.
Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Tim had a little bit of emergency this morning, so he's not going to be able to.
Everything okay?
Yeah, I mean, nothing bad. Just,
okay.
It was a property emergency.
Oh, okay. That's as long as it's not medical.
Mentioned plumbing, so probably.
Oh, yeah, that's emergency.
Yeah. So I'll mention a little bit about our budget. I don't know exactly what all he had to talk about this morning, but before I came out of this morning, I went in our visitor center. We've got a couple maps up, and we let people put their pins in where they're from. We put that up in March when the visitor center reopened, and as of this morning, we've had people from 42 states who stopped in our building and 20 different countries from Ecuador to Norway, Australia. And this is just, a very informal visual reference, but it kind of gives us an idea of what kind of people are coming through, where they're coming from. It's not unusual to hear somebody down in the lobby speaking with an Irish accent in another country. So, like I said, that's kind of informal. What is formal is the annual report, which you all should have in your packets. State does this every year. They use a number of data sources to measure the economic impact of tourism in Kentucky and county by county. And we're always eager to get that report each year. I hope to see the numbers are up. And for the third year in a row, numbers are up for Boyle County. What the numbers do show is that in 2023, we had 671 jobs in Boyle County that were dependent on tourism. That generated $18.9 million in labor income, $6.3 million in state and local taxes, and total spending of $79.4 million. That spending is up $7.5 million over the past 2 years. So the impact tourism continues to grow year after year. And we see that in our room tax revenue, obviously. That's also a good measure for us when we have high occupancy, good room tax collections. We can kind of measure that month to month.
That and we're getting more hotels being built.
That too.
So-
So lots of talk about
Yeah.
building hotels. We do have one sign up back behind Wings and Rings for long-term stay, and there's other discussion about hotels in the area. So we definitely.
Super 8 gonna build a new hotel? Is that what I
Yeah, they
read?
had some plans that were submitted recently. I'm not sure where that stands, but the one back behind Wings and Rings was an
Home-
extended stay.
Yeah, home to something.
Yeah.
Home to
That's
home.
the same owner as the Hampton the Holiday.
Okay.
It's actually going,
They're all owned by the same people.
it's actually not going behind Wings and Rings, though.
The extended stays. Now, the owner of Super 8.
Kind of over
put
to
in
the
development plans
left behind.
between Super 8 and Hampton.
Well, who was at Board of Adjustments the other day when you were talking about?
I think Super 8, and they were doing something like.
But I asked him, I
cable
said,
company that
he said he was
road-
doing Home to Suites, is what he said he
Home
was
to
doing.
suites. Okay.
Which is an extended stay,
Yes.
but it looked like it was going right there next to Floyd's Cycles.
Believe it's
Go
gonna
ahead,
be in that.
JJ.
Yeah, JJ.
May
Yes, I forgot
So-
you were here. Sorry.
That's okay. There are two in the planning process, and as Kendall mentioned, one behind Wings and Rings Cattleman is the Home to Suites, which is Manish Patel, Hampton and Holiday Inn. The Super 8 is Dip Pack, I hope I don't want to butcher his name, another Mr. Patel, a different Patel, that has a design for a Super 8 between Honda and the Super 8 now. And he's floated another plan for a second hotel, removing the existing one on the other side at a later date. But what's going through zoning board of appeals now is some setbacks for some landscaping. So they do have plans submitted, that's what they're discussing. And I don't have a firm date of when it's going to start, but I'll find out probably more tomorrow at the planning and zoning meeting.
Okay.
They approved that variance like
Yeah, they
last
did.
week, but
That's why I asked him, and he said, I was confused. Okay.
any of these businesses though that are trying to add on or whatever, I think we need to make sure for like kind of permits or whatever issue that they're up to date on paying their hotel taxes and so forth. As I'm running into an issue with some of the hotels, which I'm gonna have to. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. But I need to research it. But it's getting bad.
Well, that's, I guess, a question for Mikaela. You can bring it back to Mikaela, because that's who they're going through for some of these permits, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Mr. Ellis.
I'll work on it offline, find out.
2 legislative sessions back, Representative Tim King over in Mercer County made sure to get appropriate legislation passed for their 250th over in Mercer County. We are all approaching our 250th as a nation. So I hope that economic development, CVP, everybody in this room involved in tourism, we can capitalize on that here in Kentucky as that second phase of states coming in. I'd be happy to meet with anybody and talk about what we can offer historically, because I think everybody in here knows how amazing it is that a guy named George Washington took our Constitution before Congress and opened up westward movement. So
Thank you.
it's not too early to start.
Well, since Tim's not here, I'll go over a little bit of our budget for FY25.
Okay.
So year after year since 21, we have been able to increase our overall budget due to the revenue generated by the transient room tax. For this coming year, we budgeted to receive $320,000 in transient room tax from the hotels and $35,000 for short-term rentals. Back in FY22, the total was $175,000. So in past 4 years, basically, we've doubled the revenue that we should be receiving. Though with the high occupancy rates and the limited number of rooms, we only have a certain level we can grow to. Hotels are often booked, so until we get more hotels, being able to increase that is going to be kind of limited. But it's a good problem to have. Our total budget includes our ARPA funds, the revenue we'll receive, some money we have in CDs, interest income, and gift shop revenue. So the overall budget is $570,700. Like I said, that includes one-time ARPA money that we have to spend by the end of the year. So that'll be out of the budget midway through our year. $37,000 of that's going to go toward our grant program, where Main Street Perry Brass Band Festival, others can apply for funds to help them advertise events. We've got several already this year that have, this fiscal year that have already applied and received that money. We're going to spend about $156,000 on various advertising and marketing, from digital ads and our glossy brochures to video, streaming video, social media, that kind of thing. And then we have a little more than $50,000 of ARPA money left. The bulk of that's going to wayfinding signs in Perryville. We're just waiting on the transportation cabinet to clear one more question they had about one of the signs. So once that's cleared, I think we can move forward with that. We also have $6,250 budgeted that's going to go towards sponsoring an episode of a show called Distilled in Kentucky, which I think I've mentioned before. They're going to be filming that next week. This is a show that was created by David Helmers. He's the producer. He started the Railbird Festival. He's got Silas House, Kentucky's Poet Laureate, as the show's host. So he'll be here doing interviews. And they're going to do the filming at Luca Mariano. And they're also going to film at some different locations in the community. I know they mentioned Constitution Square and the Glass Museum. They'd asked me for our iconic locations a while back, so I gave them 20 different places from one side of the county to the next. And I'm not sure, they haven't told me the final list. They just mentioned those three, but they're going to be out and about in the community. So once this is done, the band, the Wayne Graham Band, these are all up-and-coming bands from Kentucky who are all kind of like right there on the cusp of becoming known. Wayne Graham, who's performed with Tyler Childers, and we understand Tyler may be part of this episode, not coming to Danville, but they've already filmed him down in Nashville. So I think that he's going to be actually in our episode. He's not going to be in all 8 episodes, I think just a couple. So we were lucky enough to get him. So once all 8 episodes are finished, they'll take these to streaming platforms like Netflix, Apple TV, and see who will pick this up. And hopefully it'll be a big success. We'll have a 30-minute episode, just for us. So anybody who's watching one of these streaming platforms can see the Danville episode, and hopefully it'll be a big success, and they'll make multiple seasons of this. It's a good concept, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out. Another little project we are doing this fiscal year, which we just started. See, you might pass those around. This is something my assistant, or actually she's my marketing and communication specialist now, Candace Arnold, came up with. We had little stands put in several restaurants and hotels that have our QR code on there, so visitors could scan it and go to our website to find out about places to see, things to do, upcoming events. So we took that same design and scaled it down to these business cards, and we ordered 45,000 of these, and we provided these to the Hampton and Holiday Inn. So when you check into the hotel and you get your key card, that's going to be in the key card. So as soon as they check in, they can scan the QR code and see what's going on.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And we're just in 2 hotels now. We're just kind of seeing how it goes. We're going to provide these to any of the other hotels that want these, Airbnbs, that kind of thing. And we're also turning it into a water bottle label. So we'll hand out water bottles that, like the Delta into Danville event, where you got all the new kids from Center coming in, the Bourbon Chase, it'll have the same little design, the QR code on there. So we're looking for ways to kind of expand that brand.
Yeah.
And speaking of Bourbon Chase, that's coming up. They've got a new race director this year. I've been in touch with them. The run is on Friday, October the 4th. He doesn't really know much about Danville, doesn't have any contacts, so I've been putting in touch with different people, helping him with the application they'll need to shut down the streets, that kind of thing. And hopefully he'll be in town next month, and we'll have a meeting with all the people who need to be involved in that, make sure everything's set up and ready to go.
Put me on that list if you don't mind.
Yep, sure. I think it's going to be August 15th or 16th is what we talked about. We haven't said that. It's either Thursday or Friday.
You want me on that list?
I won't be here. Okay.
Me and Julie can go.
Sure, somebody can go.
Okay, I'll be in touch and let you know.
Okay.
Just sign her up for the Bourbon Chase.
She's going to be in the donkey booth.
No.
Oh, yeah. One thing we do need sign-ups for is State Fair.
Yes.
Allie's overseeing that. I'm helping her with it. We still, as of this morning, probably have maybe 5 shifts left that we don't have anybody signed up for yet.
I have got the list right here. I'm going to pass it around if anybody wants to look at it and sign up for a shift.
Yeah, just call me. We've got it online. I can fill in the spots and make the reservations. We still have t-shirt size, and email address for more information. Other than that, I mean, there's always lots of stuff going on. Next month's the last visit we'll have from the Gold Wing group that has been coming here. They did a 3-year commitment. This is their last year. They'll be moving on to another city, which they'll announce at the closing of their event this year. So always looking for groups like that to come. They come, they have a good time, don't cause any problems. We'd be glad to have them back, but like I said, they have a 3-year cycle they go through. Like I said, that's just some of the stuff we're working on. Lots of other things going on, but just some of the highlights.
That's great. We appreciate that. Any questions or comments?
Yep.
Okay.
Wayfinding signs to the airport. Is there, I think there's really not much going toward the airport except a couple of small plain signs.
When we started working on the wayfinding plan for Perryville, we actually did a kind of a county-wide look, and we would have liked to have done the whole county. It's just they're so expensive. We only have a limited amount of money. But we did see an opportunity to put signs down in Junction City to point to Wildlife Refuge.
That's kind of where I was going. If you could do something Junction with wildlife, with the airport.
Right.
Because that's my shameless plug into talking about the economic impact of the airport. $1.3 million in state tax revenue, $590,000 in local tax revenue. It's got a $36.9 million total economic output. So a little piece of economic generation down there in Junction City.
Yeah, and we will look for a way to get those signs at some point, as well as some near the lake. Coffee Cove Marina was recently purchased by a new owner, and talked to them, and they're going to put a pretty good amount of money into fixing it up. Right now, there's no signage at all even pointing down that road, much less once you get down there, you can't even find it unless you know where it's at.
Right.
So it'd be good to have a sign there at some point, and depending on what happens with Twin Island, there's other opportunities for wayfinding signs.
Okay. And then last, you talked about Airbnbs. Some of the larger cities are starting to not approve Airbnb contracts anymore. Is there, I mean, I guess this kind of goes back to the, having probably more hotels in the area or whatever, but have you guys discussed what you're going to do on the lost portion of revenue if that starts trending? What the ones I'm talking about, I sent this over to Judge and Julie, is New York City and Washington D.C. Have started not approving them anymore, and I started seeing some of the smaller cities going that route too because of what it's done to the local rental market.
Yeah, due to the lack of rental properties.
Lack of rental properties, long-term rental properties instead of short-term or whatever. So that will lose some revenue. I didn't know if you and the board had already started discussing.
No, because I mean, right now there's really, they don't have to give anybody's permission to open. I mean,
in the county they do.
Yeah.
The county, they have to go through a process.
Yeah.
So, and they still have to get a business license. Well, they should be doing all this stuff. That way you can track them and get their taxes and stuff like that. So.
Probably don't have that many in the county.
The bulk of them are in
the city.
In the city, we've got, I think, 3 or 4 in Perryville. We really don't have any outside the city limits. I mean, I think there's a couple in Junction. There are a couple in
my district.
In your district.
Yeah. Okay.
But not a lot between here and Perryville.
In the county, in the county part of your district?
Kings Mill.
Okay.
Waterworks.
Okay.
Waterworks is probably going to end up getting shut down there because they don't have proper permits. And actually, I should probably give Mikaela some kudos on that because our previous director had always told us that, oh no, these people are going to be grandfathered in, whatever. But she did some research, and unless you're in business for more than 10 years, you're not grandfathered in. And so the one on Waterworks, they were just denied an appeal that they had. And so they'll probably go through the process of trying to get the conditional use permit, which I very much see that community will speak out again and request to have it denied. And that could be the case for Kings Mill as well. But anyway. So.
Yeah, but no, we haven't had that conversation. We have about 50 total in the county. Yeah, like I said, we're budgeted to receive about $35,000 in revenue this year.
In the whole county?
In the entire county.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, good conversation.
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, that kind of gets a better segue into getting some more hotels. So, and we're starting to see better hotels. you know, I mean, the hotels we have are nice or whatever, but, you know, when you have people that travel a lot, there's certain brands that they tend to stick with and classifications within those brands. Right. I know that's what we do when we travel.
Our Hampton and our Holiday Inn are ranked number 1, I believe, or Hampton.
Yeah, Hampton's one of the top in the,
Yeah.
in the entire chain.
Yeah, and Holiday's one of
They're
top 3.
I'm not sure about it. I know Hampton.
Yeah.
'cause
Holiday
Hampton
Inn's
ranks
way
about
up there too, yeah. Awesome. That it?
That's it.
Thank you, appreciate it. Have a good day.
You too, thanks.
Okay, next is Jailer Brian Wolford. Is he in the hall?
You got Burke's Bakery, reminiscing.
Morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
He's out there right
So
now.
I'm bearing good news. I know Jamie will be pleased. It's not gonna cost you all any money today.
Yes.
So-
Wow.
But,
Wow.
So you know with the new federal
Write
mandates,
that down.
the new federal guidelines going on, we're, as jails, we have to provide MAT or MOUD treatment. So medically treatment, that covers like Suboxone, those kinds of things. With the federal guidelines, we basically it's a shall provide. We have no choice in it. But as usual, it's an unfunded mandate. So they said, you shall do this, but nobody's
Shall
gonna
not
do it.
receive this.
Yeah.
We're not.
So, you know, we're very lucky to have Kathy and the partnership, the friendship we have with her, especially Grant at the health department. So back a few months ago, as they were applying for the opioid settlement money, they asked, is there anything that the jail, we could help with the jail? I said, absolutely. So we sat down and met and explained this. So we filled out the application. Kathy, come on up here and I'll kind of let you tell them. So we did receive notice of the grant, and I'll let you tell them how much.
Okay. Yes, we love bringing good news. So good morning, everybody. The Opioid Abatement Commission has been in their next cycle that ended in May, that we applied for funds. So we wanted to cover the spectrum of what we in ASAP are tasked to do. So we applied for a variety of things because we truly are trying to live out the issue that we are a recovery-ready community. So we wanted to apply for different things. The jail was what we asked for the jail for injectable Suboxone, Sublocade. We received $118,878.32. Those injections are about $2,000. And so, and they are for people with opioid use disorder, not for other kinds of drug addictions, but very specifically for that. And of course, that worked well with the Opioid Abatement Commission funds because they will only let us apply for things that are related to opioids because of how the settlement came down. So that kind of limited us with what we could. There were some other things we would have loved to have applied for, but couldn't. So that part of it goes to the jail. We also applied for a full-time position with the syringe exchange program at the health department. We applied for a full-time person to coordinate, to be paid adequately and coordinate ASAP. And then the fourth one was one that's near and dear to our heart. It was we had to figure out how to do this. We really wanted to listen to Family Court Judge Petrie and all the other people who work with kids and families to look at what could we do to kind of stop the generational cycle that goes on related to addiction and all that goes with it. And so we applied for some funds to do some special retreat kind of skill building, mental health skill building events for kids whose parents are either currently in treatment for opioid use disorder locally or have just recently been in treatment. And so that was the smallest part of the grant that was awarded. We call that program Resilient Kids. So that's what we got. Our total amount for Boyle County was $282,610. it starts on October 1st, so we'll be working with Brian about how to get this rolling. We will be evaluating it, so we had to build in some assessment of effectiveness, and we'll work with Brian on that with his medical providers who are ready and good to go with this. So
And then Judge, we've discussed this
we're
before,
excited.
so our goal is to have them write the check to the fiscal court and put that money as a line item under my budget, and then the doctor at the jail is prescribed, and we would bill it or take that money from that line item to cover it. So that's kind of our goal, but I think we'll have to sit down, Judge, and work this out. Also, that is a 30-day shot, and one of the reasons we like the shot versus the tablets, because it can't be cheaped and diverted inside the facility, and it's good for 30 days. So that's
easier to administer because it's the one shot deal.
big control for safety inside. So, you know, and the good news is, week before or last, I received some information from the Department of Corrections that there's going to be some money available for state inmates for MAT and MOUD. So it's a limited fund. So what we'll do is we start them off here as county if they receive this, and then once they become state inmates, we would transfer them over to that pool of money so we can save this money for our county inmates. So that's kind of our goal.
Between the two of you, and you just answered one of my questions, that it's a 30-day frequency of use, because I was fearful that it might be a day or two or whatever with drug addiction. And it's amazing what you've achieved in getting these grants. The second question, would they be renewable for the future since this is a state and federal mandate?
Yep, I was going to say, we are eligible to apply after this cycle is over, but there's no guarantee.
I understand.
So but there may be some other funding that'll step in for that. So we're thankful for that. The other thing that this is going to help is, so those providers that Brian has who are really good for knowing the whole state, as we sat out there and talked about how they provide services in jails across the state, they're going to be able to link them to follow up for that before they leave the jail, and follow up is everything. And it's been something we've known we need to do better, that they get ongoing care, and that'll be able to happen because they'll be linking up. If it's in Boyle, it'll be for one of our providers for MOUD, but if it's not, it'll be in other parts of the state, and we have lots of them. So that's good news.
Yeah.
We think it's all good news, actually.
So Brian, you and I will get together and we'll have to do a budget amendment to add that line item. So we'll get together and get the amount and all that. But Kathy, thank you for everything that you do.
Early October, we're going to actually meet, and I'd like for you to be there as well, Judge, with our healthcare provider and ASAP Health Department, so we can all kind of solve the flow. We can work out how everything's going to flow to make sure.
Just get that date to me as soon as you know it.
And while I'm here, I just want to give a shout out to EMS and what they're doing with the new crisis response team. I've been able to be on the ground with them on some of these things, and with mental health in America just skyrocketing, mental health problems, this is so wonderful that Julie wrote the grant, and that we are at that point in this county. It's truly outstanding, and you're going to know you're saving lives.
Yeah, well, we appreciate everybody that's been involved in that grant.
And then one other thing, if there's any money available through the county opioid settlement left, that if you all would consider earmarking some of that for the jail to help us with this, it would be
As long as we can keep Terry.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
So the other thing, I'll go ahead and give you my numbers today. Boyle is 61, Mercer's 37, Department of Corrections is 80. 38 of those are SAP. I'm holding 2 for Lincoln, so it gives me 181. So my numbers are staying about the same. Our county attorneys are doing a great job making sure people that need treatment are going to treatment. And then the other thing on the agenda is request permission. I want to buy 2 vehicles at state contract out of my canteen funds, using canteen funds. So this is still not going to cost you all any money, but so I'd like permission to go ahead and start that process.
Make a motion for that purchase.
I have a motion by Magistrate Ellis, second by Magistrate Yay? Okay. Any discussion on purchasing 2 vehicles?
So that'll go under our fleet. Will we do the insurance and all that, or will that be from you?
It's still insured by us.
It'll be under Boyle County Fiscal Court, and it'll be under our insurance, and it'll just
But
be
we
paid
purchase-
for out of
What kind of
campaign.
vehicles are you looking at?
We're looking probably at Ford Explorers. Those seem to be the best for us, especially with hospital runs and stuff we have to do. Trying to drive a van in a parking garage in Lexington is a nightmare. Imagine, I'll tell you.
Can imagine
And,
that.
So this is, it's, you know, we can transport probably 3 if we need to run across the state. We can put their stuff in the back and have room, and then still be able to make our doctor visits, hospital, switching people in and out when we have somebody in the hospital, that kind of stuff. Because I'm probably gonna have to get rid of the Fusion, that was total to fix it, so it ended up costing me
Four-wheel drives?
Yes, we're gonna do 4-wheel drives because we have to go in the snow, and so.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Thank you. That's all I
Very
have.
well.
Doing a good job,
Thank you.
Jailer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
All right, next is our coroner update, Dr. Grant.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
This will be fairly quick. Just a quick update on just some of the coroner statistics for the year to date. We've had 143 cases. We've done 61 single death investigations. About 25% of those have been found to be non-natural, meaning accidental, suicide, homicide, or undetermined. You know, some of the good news, like you've already heard today, is with what EMS has done, folks on mental health, the jail, the sheriff's office, the Danville Police Department. Our overdoses are down to 4 for the year. That puts us on pace to have a 62% decrease from this year from last year. Also, our suicides are down from about 40%, so 10 on pace to have 6. So, you know, just with the focus and the discussion and you know, the beginning stages of what our emergency services are doing, we're already seeing the statistics support that, and we're really seeing their work pay off for the community. So that's the main message I have this morning, and we'll keep EMS and law enforcement doing what they're doing, and hopefully we can get those numbers down to 0.
That would be awesome.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Doctor,
Oh, go some
I was
comments.
going to hold this for the round robin of our reports, but since you're here, you'll recall the televised presentation that we had a year plus ago about net recovery. I was contacted by one of their executives a week or 10 days ago, and he's going to meet here with me and with Brent Blevins on Thursday at 11:30. And if you'd be available, I'd love for you to come because they're now FDA approved.
Okay, and can you refresh me on that electrotherapy?
The drug rehab situation behind the ear with transmissions, and apparently he's got quite a success story on this now. So we're going to meet somewhere in the courthouse at 11:30.
Okay.
So I'd love to have you join us.
Discussion, I can let you know.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Grant. Okay, next, County Administrator Julie Wagner. Hello.
Multitasking is best.
That's right.
Okay,
that's right.
so we discussed putting our ordinances online and being more transparent and accessible for the public, which is always our goal. Budgeted $18,000 to do that for the first, and this first amount will not be the amount in subsequent years. The base price is $11,000. The difference we just don't know how many pages we have, if they're going to need any corrections and things like that. So what I'm asking you to do is approve this online ordinance at a not to exceed the budgeted amount of $18,000. They will also go through our ordinances and make sure there's nothing at Frankfurt that has changed, that we need to modify the ordinances, make sure they're in compliance with what we do, with what Frankfurt has passed. And they will also provide us a couple actual books with all of our ordinances in them, so we can reference them quicker in the office, which is awesome because it's really hard to find ordinances. And this is just going to make us more modern and more accessible to, we live in a 24/7 world. People want the information when they want it, and so this will help with that.
Make that
So.
motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Magistrate Gay, a second by Magistrate Cullen. Any discussion on the Code of Ordinances?
I reviewed our proposal and I approved it. I think it's great. Thank you all for listening. When I asked for that, I think it's great. Just transparency reasons as well for people to be able to look up things that we've passed. And it'll make my job easier as well. I'm trying to go through those books and wipe the dust off and to try to find things. So very excited about that. Thank you.
Okay, as part of that ordinance, could you amend that to include granting me permission to sign the documents? Okay. And you will second that? Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Okay, something I want to talk to you all about is our brush. We have an enormous amount of brush out at the Elm Springs Convenience Center, and we also have quite a little pile out on our Lebanon Road property. Of course, this is from a storm event, so obviously our chipper cannot accommodate all the brush that's come in from a storm event. Ours is more for day to day, people bringing in, clippings and little trees that they've trimmed or limbs off bushes or whatever, is more what ours would be for. So I've asked Angie if she would get me some numbers on what it would cost for us to rent the big chipper like we had before, for them to come and chip Elm Springs Convenience Center, brush, and possibly Lebanon Road. But our main focus will be on Elm Springs because most of the debris on Lebanon Road is small. There are some large tree trunks out there, but most of it is small. So she got some quotes from Parkway Recycling and Processing. As far as I know, they are a sole source.
There's only one company that we can find that does this in our area, so that's why we can't bid it out.
They have what they call a tub grinder. It's, a big, huge, that takes everything. I mean, it's not, they could throw the great big stumps in there and all that stuff. They used to be Cox Interiors, and then they broke off to this company, but this same company that we've
Cox
always...
Interiors is what I remember.
Yes.
Okay, so it's the same company, just a different name.
Yeah.
Okay. I have talked with the city manager, Earl Coffey, and he said that the city is willing to go in half with us on this because a lot of the debris, is from city. They own half of the Elm Springs Convenience Center, so it would be a joint city-county expense. They came out and assessed the debris that we had. They said it would take 2 to 2.5 weeks. There's a mobilization fee of $750, which is refundable. So that 2 to 2.5 weeks is looking at $65,000 to $100,000. It's $625 an hour with a 10-hour minimum, which amounts to $6,250 per day. So we would like to keep, or we thought...
Our chipper cannot hold the big stuff.
No, no. We would like
I know
to
you're
keep...
looking at me going, but, it's the same price it always is. We just had emergency money last time, disaster money.
We would like to keep the amount manageable, so we're thinking somewhere between $30,000 and $35,000 for each government entity. And Earl alluded to, that would be a good figure for the city as well. Mayor's here, if he wants to chime in on anything, that's perfectly fine.
No comment, that's the same decision so far.
But I thought if we started out with 10 days, that would get us that $30,000, $32,500 ballpark amount. and then just see what we have left after that if we want to go any farther. But that's just the minimum.
Judge,
Magistrate Ellis.
am I correct that they will send staff, that it won't be our staff loading the chip?
Absolutely.
We won't have no part in it.
They come and they do
There are
it, and they
liabilities
chip
in
it.
all kinds of situations with those big stumps and things.
They do it all,
Good.
and they will leave the.
I have them leave the shreddings and the chippings
Yeah.
because that's an extra $400 to $500 every load they take out. And there's
Can
no
we
reason
make
we
that
can't
available
chip
to
it.
the public?
Oh, if they want
Yeah,
it.
yes, they
Yeah,
want it.
that's not a problem.
We have before. We've made it available to the public before.
We are one storm disaster away from catastrophe at
Yes.
the Allen
Yes.
Springs. We have to do this to
Yeah.
get caught up. We couldn't take all the brush from the last little storm
If
that
we had a big storm right now, I don't know where we
would
I'd
put
be
it.
tired.
Are we gonna continue using our small ones? to
Yes.
use
Oh,
the-
absolutely.
yes, yeah.
We've just got so much.
Right, I
And
just
we don't have a
know where it's
staging
going.
area, that if we don't
Right.
find a staging area, something happens right now, I don't know what we'll do. I mean,
And
I'm
I
just at a
just wanted to
loss.
make the comment that I keep getting all these comments, we're closing Alum Springs. I had them in church say, are we closing?
We are
Alum
not
Springs?
closing Alum
I
Springs.
don't-
Let me
Or-
say it for the record.
Or
not.
other communities.
Yeah, so I don't know where
Absolutely
that's
not.
coming from, but.
Let me
I
say
want
it for
to
the
be-
record. We
yes.
are not closing Alum Springs.
Thank you.
And I'll time that.
So if we have any employees that are telling the public that we are closing, we need to put that to a stop. So I'll
Yes,
just
we
leave
do.
that to your discretion.
I will find out and I will
So-
take care of that.
Thank you.
We have a storm every year.
Yes.
Is there an opportunity to get a larger chipper? And
I'm lucky that I got,
That one was got with a grant.
that was done with the grant.
how much?
It was 90,000.
Okay, so but we're getting ready to spend $30,000 to $50,000 on this year.
But that stuff, you gotta remember, most of it was already there before we got the chipper.
I understand that. I'm just saying, can we look at a larger chipper?
Where we don't have to rent. a
Where
big
we don't
one.
have to rent these every year or every other year and have these,
It's going to depend on how many storms we have too, though. I mean,
well, we
how
have a
much
storm every
piles
year.
up.
I mean, it's,
But we don't.
Multiple.
The cheapest thing you can do is us work with the city to find a staging area that we can legally burn in. That everybody has one place in a field, a piece of property, that the state says, yes, this is a good place, and yes, you can burn here.
Could you find the ordinance from the state that prohibits us from just going ahead and judges and the mayor's approval of burning? Because I don't think it exists.
A staging area,
I'm not familiar with anything out of the state.
if you have a FEMA disaster, you better have an approved staging area.
This would not be a FEMA disaster, this would
But
be
this
a
is
routine.
not, but if I burn at Allen Springs like we tried to before, and there's complaints, we are stormwater permitted out there, as well as air quality shut us down because of the
Exactly,
complaints.
because I live there, and there was smoke, and our whole community, it was like a fog constantly, and allergies, and everybody it was bad.
Well,
So-
technically, and I understand what you're saying, believe me, I do, but brush is legal to burn. That is one of the things.
Right, but do we
in
want
the
to put
state of
people's health
Kentucky.
in
That's why I'm
jeopardy?
saying though, it's.
Right, so if we're
It's
going
a
to find a
double-edged
place,
sword,
it
you
can't
know,
be in a
it's-
place that it's going to.
it's always gonna be not in my backyard.
Yep.
Exactly,
Always.
It's
exactly.
gonna be a like, I don't even know why we're talking about it, because it's
That's right.
how much is your chipper? And can we, if we can't get grants for it, we're spending money, you know, we would have bought the larger chipper by now with what we've done since I've been in office.
How?
Can you?
And I understand that, you know, they're expensive and, you know, we don't know storms, but we're pretty predictable at this point that we're gonna,
We're going to have a storm a year, yes.
We're pretty much a tornado alley,
But
so
you
if we don't get a
have to
tornado, we're gonna.
understand the chipper didn't come from a grant for disaster. Okay? Are
Just
you following
everyday
me?
chipping. normal, everyday chips.
Yes.
Like I said, people cutting their tree limbs, people cutting
It's
their
for, you know, the
bushes.
small limbs to make mulch. It was a composting
I understand that.
grant, okay? So, you know, are they gonna let me go back and write one for a bigger one? I doubt
I don't care.
Hey, I'll buy one.
Please price out some chippers.
I think what we
We don't
need
have
to
to
price out,
renting
if we
chippers.
are not gonna find a staging area, then my suggestion is to buy a huge tub grinder that takes everything.
Okay.
A chipper is never gonna take everything,
Great.
but a tub grinder will do that.
Okay.
We're talking semantics here because I'm saying chipper, I'm meaning grind whatever.
Yes, yes.
Give me the
We can look
Grindatron
that up.
5,000. I don't care, but I don't want to keep renting and paying other people a salary.
Look, I totally agree, and as long as you've been here, you've heard me say, we need a staging area.
Well, we need a grinding area.
Or
Or
that we
need a,
can burn, and we wouldn't be buying a tub grinder, we wouldn't be paying anything if we could burn it.
well, but
Let's talk about this in the next budget cycle. That's when it needs to be discussed.
Well,
Okay, so we can get, the city and the county can get together and discuss some staging areas and don't
We have
shake
money in
your
the
head,
budget for
no,
this.
Mayor.
Hey, I'm behind you here.
do we have money in the budget
This is
for
a
this?
problem, Mayor.
So are we going to put this off till next budget?
Or you can take it out of reserves.
Take it out of reserves, so we'll have to.
So what's the
What if
difference?
I'll tell you what, why don't I look for a grinder and the price of it?
Yes.
And I'll bring it back,
Yes.
and then everybody can
That's step
decide
one.
if we have it, or we need to wait till next budget cycle.
That's
Great.
step one.
Because if we're open reserves, we're open in reserves.
Just gonna jump in.
And at that point, we can actually get more
But I
of
will get pricing, and I'll
We'll have
see,
a capital
learn
project
about.
discussion.
Okay. Magistrate Bogner would like
I
to
said, I'm
say.
gonna jump in, but I can't find a place to jump in. Go ahead. I don't hear the chipper that we have now going very much. I mean, just a 20-minute, 30-minute at a time. So do we have
Oh, it's
staff?
going, I even put one of my skid steers out there. But I've had to shut it down the last few days. I have one of my dead animal driver, he's back in the hospital this morning, and I have the other one doing dead animal. So you gotta understand the I don't have the people to keep out.
That's what I was gonna say. I
I
don't
have
feel
one
like we
out
got-
there, the other one drives, I have the, the two I have 7 recycling. 2 of them do litter, 2 of them do dead animals, one's don't, the other's got to, so it's
So the part-time help.
it's a part-time deal when I can do it. So I ran it for a week with 2 of them, so.
If you weren't closing Alum Springs, they'd work out there.
I repeat, we are not closing Ellis Springs.
We are not.
So, question about my wonderful magistrate here in the 3rd District mentioned.
Yeah.
What do we got to do to get some inmates out there to help with some of this? Can we?
Talk to your jailer.
He just left.
Not the jailer.
All right, so the
I'm
jail
solid
committee,
waste
can
director.
you all get together with the jailer and ask about getting some help with the inmates and getting them some fresh air?
And just remember, I just want to throw this out there. There's other counties that's had problems with chippers and inmates, what goes in them, what tears them up, and the liability. Just putting it out there.
Well, they'll have to be instructed from the get-go.
Well, they are instructed from the get-go, but it does happen. That's just feedback.
Well,
that's fine with me.
They will have a supervisor with them.
All the time.
Somebody will have to stay with them to supervise that they're doing it correctly.
And I think you can set the parameters of what they can do, what they can put in there. I mean, if it's person power that you're looking for,
It basically is. I mean,
we got some
I can
people that
only
can
do
move
so
some
much
stuff
with
around
the
or
litter
whatever.
pickup and the grinding and the recycling. So,
Okay, well, so let's.
I mean, I'm working as much as I can, but now when it was 105 in the shade, I'm sorry, but I didn't put them out there.
No, it makes sense.
They shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I didn't put them out there.
Chipper box.
It's just recently, we haven't heard it going at all.
Well, John's in the hospital. He's in the ER this morning. He's sick.
Okay.
He had that stroke and now he's got a GI.
Do you have an issue grinding or chipping when there's a no burn ban too? Do you have to worry about? Okay, I didn't know.
As far as I know, no.
Okay, so chipper box, whatever you want to get, whatever it is, price it out, please.
Right.
And if we're gonna have to dig into reserves for a little bit, it's better that we own it and we can run run it and we can manage it constantly instead of having to, you know.
Oh, I'm good with that. I don't
Rent
have a
this
problem with
stuff all the
whatever you want
time.
to do, but.
If it's once every 5 years, I can see that, but it's once a year that we're doing this.
We got big storms, we got big trees, especially the city.
Well,
We've had 3 fall on Tuggle Road.
well, it's because the people in the city live in the county.
That's exactly right. That's why they need to pay for it as well.
Okay,
No, we do.
But,
We pay our county taxes.
it will,
to the beginning.
Well, I pay city taxes too, and I don't live in the city, Jamie, so.
it will help, it's an extra service too, like if we can take
It
more
is an
brush out
extra
there.
service, it's a good service, and
Yeah.
you know, there's contractors that I know are using it, and you know,
But-
it is a problem, but the bigger problem, and you can blame me, the buck stops with me with it, is I see it, if I deny the contractors that's picking up here, it ends up over the hill, and when we have a flood, it's gonna take out your bridges here.
Well, what I hear from
I've seen it, I'm from eastern Kentucky, I've seen it, so.
what I hear from the contractors is some contractors can leave it without a problem, and then some contractors get
Well, I probably
harassed.
wouldn't doubt that, but I am
That's
working
what
on
I'm-
taking care of that.
Well, they
so.
get different. Sometimes the person that's working says, yes, you can come in, and then sometimes the person says, no, you can't come
Right,
in.
that's exactly, it's
And
very
It
inconsistent.
needs to
Well,
be
they don't-
more
They don't want to deal with the
consistent.
confrontation. That's the problem. It becomes confrontational. They're not paid enough to have their lives put at risk because
Absolutely.
they've had guns pulled on them. They've been threatened. They don't
Absolutely.
deserve that. So I understand where some are like, you know what? I'm not even gonna argue.
You know, he's been called well, we won't go there, we're live, but you know, bad names for somebody when you say, no, we're not gonna take this big stump. And then the first thing to do is call me, threaten me with Trilly, threaten us with everything when, you know, we can't do anything with it.
But what
We have guidelines that we have to go by.
And what I hear is from other contractors that dump things, why can this contractor jump?
They're all getting to dump, don't let them fool you. They're
All the
getting-
construction companies,
Yeah, and they
all
shouldn't be,
construction.
but they are. Are you talking construction, are you talking trash, you talking the debris?
construction people say, well, if a tree guy can do his debris and that saves him that money, why can't construction people?
Well, we can stop it all. I mean,
Oh, here we are, closing it down.
Right, here we go.
we can close the brush down, but no, because reason we don't take construction debris, we'll take a couch, we'll take a room of carpet, we will take a window. But, you know, the reason we can't take it is if everybody brought a piece of wood in the county, we're paying for it.
I mean,
And they're, and the
it's
same
all
way
big
with the top
stuff
three
of what the public
contractors.
comes and takes out of
Right,
there.
right.
So the more they have to take out, the more that the residents have to pay. When somebody does construction work, they should be billing in your husband, you know, and your family probably did this, a removal fee, a dump fee. You take it up to Rumpke like I do with all my crap.
That's what
and
we've
you
done
pay
for 30 years.
Yeah, exactly.
40, 50
Right.
years, so I don't worry about that.
But,
for me,
you know,
but I
the
hear
brush
others
is a
complain.
thing, and I've just thought, you know, the only reason I take that from the contractor is because of our public works and flooding and bridges and things like that, because it backs up when you start throwing it over the hill. It will back up if the floodwaters get high enough.
The nice thing is that we can start
And
turning
the only
around.
thing, you know, here of late, I get the contractor saying, I pay my taxes, but you know, it's like I had to tell one, you're getting paid though to remove it.
Right.
Okay, can we get back to
Yeah,
the
let's get back. I got something else when you get back.
order of business?
Me too, that's what I say. I will check on the tub grinder.
Thank you.
I will get prices, and I have one more thing. Let's change the
Well,
subject when you're done.
we gotta
Didn't you try to
finish
get the
this
burn
up
box
first.
too or something like that? What was that?
That was a composting grant. That was the $170,000 we sent back to the state.
Yeah, but with the burn.
A
Oh, that was different.
Before we move on.
Never mind.
Clarification, and I wish was not the news, but I just wrote to our jailer, and he said, under state regs, inmates cannot use wood chippers. I knew that was the case because they can't use chainsaws, so
There we
that
go.
settles
Yeah, but
that.
There you go, that settles that.
No, it doesn't. They can provide, they can't operate the chipper, but they can go out there and do a little raking to get the stuff moved so the guy on the skid steer can then load the chipper. They can help.
They just can't do the chipping.
They can't do the chipping. So let's
Okay.
Amount of money we spend on these inmates, taxpayers spend on these inmates, tell the jailer, give us some help.
Okay.
You can use his new, you can use his new Explorers.
Can I get a motion to approve, the,
Getting hungry.
you're getting angry. Angry. Agreement with Parkway Recycling for up to 10
200
days.
milligrams. I got another one in.
So do we want to do that before we get the price of?
Well, we've got to get this stuff gone. If we have another storm and we haven't got the quote or whatever and approved to buy it, and I don't know how long it takes to get here, we are going to be in a mess.
I'm fine with it. I make a motion.
So.
How much?
Okay, up to 10 days at $62.50 per day would be $62,500, split in half with the city.
What if the city comes back and says they're not doing that much? Do we have to do the remainder?
Then we will decrease the number of days to
Comes
whatever
back.
the city says they want to, but,
Yeah, I say we go up to $35,000 out of surplus.
okay.
I'll make that, or I'll second.
Yeah,
Magistrate
and
Bowden's
I'll
motion.
modify it too.
Okay, so up to 35,000 out of surplus.
Yes.
Okay, motion by Magistrate Gay. Is there a second?
No, it's.
The Magistrate Bowden.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I made
He
the
just
first, I
hijacked the motion.
modified.
I second it.
Magistrate Bodner,
And
Magistrate
second.
Gay, second.
Yes.
Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, you contract with Parkway?
Yes, yeah, I will do that.
And I'll talk to Earl and tell him that we have approved this on our
For 10
side
days, I
for
will
up to
talk to-
35,000.
I will talk to them, yes.
And then if there's a change of plans, then we'll just do what we have agreed to pay,
Okay.
which will significantly reduce the number of days.
Okay, so how soon will I know that before I call?
Hopefully by, come on.
Would you like me just to wait to call them or get them plan to be here? I'll just get a plan.
Get a plan to be here, it'll just, all it will change will be the number of days.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then just real quick,
Measure.
I think it's Magistrate Cullen saying we need to pursue the pricing on tub grinding. And then I think we also need to continue to pursue the staging, the
Yes,
location of the staging
absolutely.
area.
I mean,
All those
it's
things
legal
need
to
to
burn.
be, yeah, all those things need to be done simultaneously.
And like Columbo, one more thing, yes, Jason, they can assist.
Angie?
The inmates can assist.
Yeah.
Can they burn on Lebanon Road? The fire chief in the very beginning said he did not like that.
It's too close to factory.
Well,
Too
it's
close.
residential.
Too close
It's
to
residential.
I understand why.
It's residential
So
and
it's
you're
the fire
being,
chiefs?
you're-
After
and as
living
soon
through
as
it,
you, as soon as you get a complaint, then you have the air quality from London up here and want to shut you down. So that's why it was not a good site.
Just to give you all an idea,
It's a choice.
I did a quick search on this tub grinder, and I just found one that just sold recently. It's like a 2012 tub grinder. It was a Morbark was the name of it. And it was like a diesel, 212 horsepower with 2,600 hours, and it sold for like $85,000. I'm just giving you an idea.
It's big money. You're talking probably
That would be
100
great.
grand.
That'd be
But if we
great.
split that with the city,
Yeah, that's great.
That'd be great.
It should be,
And
honestly,
there's
it
so
should
many
be
trees
split
in the
with
city.
Because the,
That's
you know,
85 just for
it's-
2012.
it's
85,000. 85,000.
so that's 45, or that's 4250, whatever. That would be our part if we could work with the city on them things since they have.
And that was in
12-year-old piece of
2012
equipment.
model.
Correct.
The new ones were like 490.
And that's not in our budget, just a reminder.
Correct.
We would have to.
But also one
But
of
that's $10,000 more than what we just spent for one time.
Well, I guess I would add that though we are paying, I guess in that price, we're paying for the labor
Right.
and all the stuff that comes with it, because we would have to.
Be our people.
We would have to have people that she says is hard to get to operate it, so there's a certain amount of labor cost.
That part's
that's
not
going
ever
into
gonna
that
change unless we
number.
hire more part-time people.
Yeah.
So,
More clothes.
Mines are all spread out and do everything we can, you know, to keep up with this.
yeah,
so
regardless
our-
if we have it or not, we're still gonna have the employee issue.
Well, because
Or
I
lack
have two, I'm
thereof.
supposed to be later, you know. we either let the litter go, or we let the brush go, or we let the, you know, it just.
Or we hire
Yeah,
more
we try
employees.
to just basically
Or
cover everything.
part-time. I mean, you wouldn't need it year-round. It would just be during the season. In winter, you're not gonna be doing much.
And it can be seasonal
It-
employees.
Yes.
you know.
Or it could be
seasonal.
jail. Be careful with
People.
seasonal because your ice storm will bring.
Yeah.
Occasionally, we'll have that ice.
Yeah.
But
What were the
still-
numbers this morning? 60 and 41 at the jail, and then 82 from the state that don't pay crap. So there's a couple hundred people right there that will help your part-time status.
Yeah. Okay, Angie.
I got one more thing. Are we done with the?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. So this is what everybody's been waiting for, okay? Our waste tire collection event. Yes.
Yay.
September 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Where?
At the State Highway Garage, as always.
Allen Springs.
All confused.
Don't do that, don't, please don't.
North Stewart's
I'll almost
Lane.
beg at this point.
North Stewart's Lane.
Yes, North Stewart's Lane. And I really haven't set the hours because I haven't talked to the State Highway Garage, but I will probably do at least probably 8 to 4. And Saturday, I will have to cut off at some point because the tire people, Liberty Tire, come in and start cleaning up. So it'll be a shorter day, but I'm not going to do a half a day and we'll make it go longer on Saturday.
Are citizens limited to the number of tires?
No. And
Are there any
we're not limited to county. Anybody from any county in the state of Kentucky, as long as they live in Kentucky, you can use the waste tire event.
So they can
So
come
if
from
Lincoln
Mercer,
County's
they can
having,
come from
yes,
Gerry,
they can come from
here.
anywhere.
It's a grant.
The only
Any
thing,
restrictions?
yes, there are restrictions. I should have brought them with me just to give you all of them.
That's okay.
Tires on rims are okay.
Crapping paint cans?
I swear I'm gonna kill him. You can go, oh, the HHW event will become first before the tires. So
Good.
you
Okay,
can
cool.
see them 24.
Yeah, if you send
Tires
them
on
to us,
rims
we
are
can put it on
okay.
Facebook.
Your foam-filled tires, no.
No foam field.
No foam-filled tires. It's basically your great big, like dozer, but bicycle tires, your farming tires, little things like that, passenger. But I will have the list out there. I'm getting ready to do a social media poster and everything to put out, and I'll get you to do it.
Just send us the info.
We'll do it on the radio. We'll start advertising it and all that good stuff. Just please put it out there because this is 12th or 14th, on the 16th of September. I don't really want somebody calling me like they always do and say, when you gonna have the tire event?
Yep. Get the info out.
We usually do, but we done almost 30,000 tires last time, so let's do that again.
Yes.
Oh, and businesses, tire retailers cannot. No tire retailers or Savage Yards.
Okay, so.
But that's what I'm hearing, and we agreed to, Shirley's getting ready, we already signed it, we're going to sign this. I have to have at least 3 employees out there, and I have to be out there, of course, for it, just to control
And
it.
are you saying no commercial at all, or just tires?
Tire retailers.
Okay, so.
Or salvage yard.
Or Savage.
So if it's
It's a fine line, I'll be there.
Okay.
I wish they offered.
Can we chip the tires?
I don't have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What, Jason Cullen, is there anything you can do with that?
I need a motion to approve the 2024
Only halfway
Kentucky Waste
through.
Tire Management Program Agreement.
Motion.
Magistrate Boulder, second by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
I will scan you a copy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, at this time, I would like to get a motion to go into executive session pursuant to KRS 61810, paragraph 1, paragraph B, deliberations on the future acquisition or sale of real property by a public agency, but only when publicity would be likely to affect the value of a specific piece of property to be acquired for public use or sold by public agency. And I would like for the county attorney, the county administrator, Terry Crowley, and
Point of order, Judge, are we going to do round robin after that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Ellis. All those in favor of going into executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. So everyone else,
Shannon.
Getting the go-ahead, okay. All right, we'll come back into session. I need a motion to return to regular session.
Make that motion.
Second.
Magistrate Sleeper and second by Magistrate Cullen. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. All right, do we have a motion?
Do have a motion. Make a motion, Barry Harmon, Magistrate 3rd District, that we move to purchase Fred Kane property on 225 North Stewart's Lane for the sum of $2.6 million, and check to be payable at the closing.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion by Magistrate Harmon, a second by Magistrate Gay. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Thank you very much. Okay, magistrate reports. Magistrate Vogler, we'll start with you today.
Well, we've been real busy with our Junction City Matters, and we have about 10 or 11 people coming. Our next meeting is July the 29th at 9 a.m. at Junction City, the City Hall, and we'd love to have anybody that could come to. We're really putting a lot of emphasis on this party at the park, September 21st. Everybody mark it down. And we're going to have some little bouncy houses and all kinds of activities and some, we're hoping some vehicles for people to go see and just different things. We haven't got a flyer yet, but that's my next big project, a flyer that actually says what we're going to have. So once I get that, we'll be doing well. Excited about the football season coming up with my grandson having his senior year.
The TV star.
Yeah, he had a little thing on TV. It was real neat to watch him be interviewed. Let's see what else I had. Been taking care of some complaints about holes in the road and cats. 21 cats down the road, probably two miles from me now. The neighbor has 21 cats.
2 places in your district that are overrun with
Yes,
cats.
and between my house and the neighbor, there's 8, probably.
I
So,
can bring that up.
some people say they've been already taken in and ear clipped. So we're getting dumped on, a lot of cats dumped on, and so I've been trying to work with Rachel Beckman and some people, try to get some of these cats taken care of, but it's really not working out too well.
No, it's
So,
not.
I don't know what to do about it. I'm at a
We had a
loss.
cat problem in court the other day. I think this guy's neighbor moved or something, didn't take the cats, and he was trying to maybe take them to the Humane Society,
Yes.
and I don't know that they accepted him, and then he ended up like shooting someone with a BB gun or something.
Oh, yes, yeah, and he's in jail now, yes, right. So, I mean, that's a serious matter. You don't want people so upset they're going to that. We've got to.
The only
look at it.
good thing about it is they're not reproducing.
Right.
I mean, I know it's a
But they're
nuisance,
20
and yes, I
year
understand.
animals, which I want to find them all a home.
Well,
That's what we want to do.
The White Oak Road complaint, which is what's coming today, they are producing. over on
So
White
they
Oak
haven't
Road.
been,
And they don't know where they came from. The cat colonies are not working out. We
No.
have somebody whose garden is toxic, have been determined toxic because of the cats going in their garden. And said it would be at least a year with no cats.
Yes.
So I don't know what we do, but it's clearly
That's
not
the
working.
same one I'm
It's a
working
problem.
with. Yeah, it's a big problem, so, need to contact Humane Society and
We'll work on that.
animal control. We need to see what we can do. And, let's see, holes in roads and some, I think that's it. I believe that's it.
okay, thank you. Master Harmon?
Just have one thing, and I'd like to thank our assistant over by you for her devoted work on the minutes and all the pre-setting for our meeting today is the best we've had. And I've only been here a year and a half.
Me too.
But I know that we all gone through a training curve, and it takes time for all of us to get on the same page. And I think one of the key things is when you match up what's in here with what's on the agenda, it sure makes it smoother.
Yeah, thank you for recognizing
And it
that.
helps this old messed up mind to stay straighter.
I was trying to keep it straight for myself, so I.
Thank you, and I hope that, the judge can do something reflected in something.
Double donuts.
Thank you, Commissioner Harmon.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Phillips?
Block party this Saturday at Millennium. We are a sponsor of it. I'm glad that we're a sponsor of it. It's a fantastic day. And the group that puts that together, it's what we always hope that, just it's community. And they saw a need and they went out and it actually grew into something where we asked to be a part of it, not they, came to us. We said, we want to give you the help to make this better. And they came to us at that point, but it was never, them just looking for a handout. It was, they saw a problem and they jumped on it, and it's grown each year, and it's wonderful. Something else going on that day, but I'll leave that for my colleague to the west, in that smaller blue area. And on August 2nd, drum roll, because it's the return of the hot air balloons, which is very exciting. So the balloons over the bluegrass, August 2nd at the airport, which will be fantastic. And then on a different topic, I'd like to talk about board appointments. And Barry gave me such a great lead in here with the wonderful work that's done in the judge's office that wanted to see maybe if there is some way we could add a task to. No. We in the previous administration, we had something that came up where we felt we weren't getting a lot of input on board appointments. And so the workaround we had at that point is that any board appointments were coming up, we were notified, and we could give input on those. And I think that would be wonderful if we could do that. That takes the stress off of you of coming up with all these board appointments, because we know the people in our community as well, and those willing to serve. So if we could figure out, like, if we have a list of when the board appointments are coming up, where we could know and we could give input, we understand that it's at your discretion, and then we get to vote on it or whatever. But I would love somehow for those board appointments to be sent out to them.
I would appreciate all input, because sometimes they are hard to fill.
Yeah.
And, and you just, people are not as readily willing to serve on committees as they used to be.
Correct. I'd echo Jason's comments simply because he knows people in my district better than I do with all the activities he's had over there, and I appreciated it, particularly with the concept of a library out there.
Yeah.
So if we know ahead of time, we can fill it.
We will start getting the word out to you all when there's a vacancy.
Correct.
And then that would be prior knowledge, because it is so hard to get somebody to agree on a short notice, and nobody will agree.
I think one thing that we have to, we have to own as well is that there is a list of boards that is kept, and we can always ask to have that list shared with us, so that way we know, and
That's
it's
what
not.
we need to do.
Yeah, so
right here.
I've asked that we actually have that list put online too, because like Julie said, we're in a 24/7 age now where, I might want to look up at 7 o'clock at night to see, who's on what board.
Okay.
And, my only thing I can do is go back and look and see the last time I did ask Tina to send me the board list or whatever, but I think there should be something in there that Bill can do that can list who's on the boards. That way people, the taxpayers, constituents, whoever you call them, have that access as well.
Well, and any time that any come up for any reason at all, we can put it on our Boyle County Facebook page to where people can see it out there.
Right.
that gets it out to everybody.
Sure.
That being said, we need, I think we need to help the ethics committee on getting the financial disclosures that we send out, that we all approved. There's several speeches or whatever that have not completed, and they're going to start getting fined if we don't do something about it.
Which means we'll lose them.
Which means we'll lose them. It'll make it harder to get people in here.
Yes.
Many of these people we know, so we may need to start divvying up that list of people that have not submitted them. And instead of them getting a fine for X amount of dollars, we say, hey, we need this from you. And it's really not that big of a form to fill out. Please send it in so we can do that. So that's the help we're willing to offer.
That and multiple returns on forms that are sent in, and they may be missing information, they get sent back. They may not fill it out just exactly right the next time, and then they get sent back out again. And every time they're sent out by certified mail, which is what now, $8 or something, every time these letters go out. So I think we need to look at maybe adjusting our ordinance as far as if there is something that needs to be corrected or something that's missing, it's sent back out, that they can correct that information on the same form that was sent out, that they do not have to fill out a brand new form in order to do that. So that's something though that Julie and I have talked about, and think that may help, rather than a board member getting their disclosure back 2 or 3 times. By that time I'd be aggravated myself and say, well, forget it, I just won't be on the board.
Right.
So,
Yep.
something we need to consider looking at.
Rideshare, have we gone anywhere with ride shares on the tax that we implemented on them?
No, I gotta work on that. I gotta get through the settlement report, the audit.
Can anyone else help you? What do you need help with on it? Just writing?
Write the ordinance, get the letters to the people, make sure the ordinance is exactly right. I know we have one. I just need to follow it, write a letter, get it out to the list, come up with a list, that kind of stuff. So
I think we can
go
go through like Lyft and Uber, and they
there's
should
some
have
local
something.
taxi companies here.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things on my list.
Tax.
They have some, but I don't think everybody's.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then insurance tax, when do we start working on
That needs to start in January, February, so that we can get that through by next fiscal year. And that is on my, we've got to do this year list.
Wonderful.
So.
I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Phillip. Mr. Gay.
Yes, I would ask that we adjourn today in memory of Father Norman Fisher from Perryville, Boyle County graduate, Center College graduate, a person of, I don't know, I guess the best way I can describe him, I know we've got many godly men in our presence here today and people. Father Norman, he was just one of those people that you literally, he loved everyone, and you felt that sense of God's presence when he was in your presence. And I don't know how else to describe him. I was lucky enough to consider him a friend, and he's somebody that truly touched and influenced thousands of people's lives in his way too short lifetime. And so I just would ask that we close in memory of Father Norman.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Measure Slipper.
Just a couple of things. I attended on July 16th the BCTC open house. It was a great event. I think by all measurements it was a great success. I've got 3 granddaughters that will be starting there in the fall, and I just want to reiterate publicly what a great gem that is to have in our community. So.
Did you give Magistrate Ellis the good news from that event?
Oh, yeah, and Judge Bottom won something in the draft.
No question about that. That's never even an issue.
I didn't even know they were having a raffle. What the heck?
Well, when I went through, they said something about for students. So my granddaughter won something too. One of them, but
she's a student of life.
Yeah. I even texted her and told her.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I knew you meant it, so appreciate that.
And the other thing is just, and Terry
I
Crowley.
hope you get 1099s for all these things.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
I'm regifting.
Oh my gosh. Oh, really?
To Italy, I'd love to go.
I'll pay the tax on that one, take my word.
And the only other item is EDA Chair Terry Crowley already mentioned this, but the FS property we've closed down that, the EDA. So we met on July 15th, and that's probably the real noteworthy thing from that meeting. So.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sleeper. Mr. Ellis, close
Thank
us
you,
out.
Judge. Everybody, I expect to see you early on Saturday at the Turtle Derby this year. Thank the Lord we got some rain,
Yes.
so that there is some flow of the river.
We had desert tortoise.
All right.
Second issue, and I've just, Katina sent this to you for distribution to everybody, including staff.
We are a sponsor too. I wanted to make sure that was,
yes.
yeah,
Thank
the Turtle
you.
Derby.
Thank you. Had an extraordinary quick response from AT&T on a critical issue. Matthew Ellis is the head of the Portland Community Center. He called me to tell me that their monthly bill for their landline all of a sudden showed up, having been, I think, $140 or $50 a month, showed up to be $450 a month. The good news is Holly Spade, who you saw at our last conference, gave her comments and then said that she was moving on to another AT&T position, introduced me over the internet because I wrote to her immediately after that conference. And a young woman named Amanda Leach, L-I-C-H, was my contact person. And I wrote it up rather verbose over a page of rationale as to why the not-for-profit organization, Portland Community Center, ought to have some relief. And within less than 48 hours, they actually gave them the state rate, which is significantly lower than what they were paying. Therefore, Katina will be sending everybody Ms. Leach's contact information if you have any AT&T issues. That's a remarkable turnaround when she had to go through a couple or three layers of corporate AT&T. So you might even want to acknowledge, once you get it, send her an email and say, hey, I'm one of those folks with Fiscal Court. So that was quite pleasing to see. I want this on the record that I got contacted at 5:45 the other morning about a tree down on Tuggle, and nobody could get out to go to work. And before daylight, Public Works was out there and had it cleared within what?
Not long.
Less than 45 minutes.
I was going to say
and
30.
It was
So.
a big blocking tree.
Yeah.
You'll recall that and I mentioned this when Dr. Grant was with us. Over a year ago, we watched on the screen out of California the gentleman who we met at, I think it was a judges conference where we were there, all about this new device for drug recovery. And if you will recall, there was a middle-aged gentleman once incarcerated and a woman well under 40 once incarcerated who gave their testimony about the success. The reluctance that we had, including Dr. Garant, appropriately, was that at the time that they were giving us the opportunity to participate, they were not Food and Drug Administration approved. They are far beyond that now. They are showing great success with this new device. It reminds me of UK basketball players who had knee and leg problems with a new device 30 years ago that helped heal, what's it called when it's not a complete break?
Stress fracture.
The stress fracture. And we moved so far ahead in technology. A gentleman named Jeff Lott has contacted me, thanks to the good insight from Julie. I was wondering who else might be able to be in that meeting because our judge will be in staff meeting that day. but she recommended Brent Blevins. And Brent's going to join me somewhere here in the courthouse at 11:30 on Thursday, and now I hope Dr. Grant will come as well, because it's a thrill to know that people who are drug or alcohol addicted might have a new and successful device. I just want to compliment our sheriff, and I wrote on Facebook when I saw his write-up about dock dogs, incredible success, which drew in, am I correct, hundreds of people this year?
Yes.
Started out almost as a garage operation, and now is an economic development success that we've had. So, you know, thank you, Sheriff Taylor, on that. And then, Judge, can you tell us a little bit about the joint jail run out and all that will transpire when we're finally no longer part of joint jail?
Well, our last meeting, well, potentially our last meeting, will be Friday, and we'll just clear up the final business, pay the final bills, and then we will be dissolved unless there's still bills pending.
Yeah, there'll be run out is what I heard in our meeting a couple weeks ago.
And if there are, we will continue to meet monthly until everything is finally cleared out. But but our official last meeting is Friday.
Very favorable reimbursement, as you all know, henceforth, Mercer County on their inmates. Thank you, Judge. That's it.
All right, thank you, Magistrate.
I have one other ask. Sorry. Signs that we have at our county boundaries, some of them are kind of shot up, tore up, looking kind of bad. So I didn't know if we could see about going around and making sure they're nice, new, replaced, whatever.
I got the perfect guy for that.
Okay. And then while we're out there, we've had the Mr. Walker sign up for as long as I can remember, home of.
Frank Exel.
Yeah, he doesn't live here anymore, but and generally, from my understanding, those are supposed to change out. It's supposed to be a new person, I think, every 18 months or something like that.
Poet laureate.
Well, no, just when you have like, you know, home of kind of thing.
Oh. Okay.
You know.
I'm not familiar. I didn't either. Okay.
I think it's usually only about 18 months. So can we look at maybe highlighting some others?
Sure.
That are from this community or this community?
Yeah, and I'll take all suggestions for that.
Yeah. But man, we're just the signs, especially over in Tom's district.
Okay.
It's all shot to heck.
Thank you. County Attorney.
Yeah, just briefly. So one of my jobs as county attorney is to collect on cold checks. As we all know, not many people write as much checks these days as they used to, but they still write checks and they still write bad checks. So so I have a cold, you know, and I can charge so much per check that I collect. And anyway, I have a cold check fund, and if I don't use all that money in the cold check fund by June the 30th of each year, I have to turn it over to the fiscal court so they can use it for whatever. And so with that, it's not as big as it has been in the past because, like I said, there's not as many checks, but I have a check that I want to present to our interim treasurer, made out to the Boyle Fiscal Court for $1,175.73.
Yay! Thank you.
Is it a good check?
That's it. Yeah.
All right, let's not get the
first
number on there.
Yeah, let's do it. Great, thank you.
All right, good deal.
And other than that, I think I was looking ahead, our next meeting will probably be Tuesday, July the 13th. And
August 13th.
Excuse me, yeah. August 13th, and I'll be at the Crimes Against Children Conference in Dallas, Texas. So
Will you have a
I'll have my
representative?
assistant, Jenny,
Awesome.
be here.
Go to the stockyards.
That's it.
Okay, Julie?
I don't have a lot. I just kind of want to update you that the audit, I hope this isn't on your list. It looks like they're going to start August 5th. So we have a list of things we got to get to them. The settlement report report most likely will not be done by August 1st, but it should be close. We're still shooting for August 1st, which is KRS. And I guess that's it. I think we're coming to a close of all this finance stuff, and I feel like everybody's...
We're so ready to move on.
Yeah. Mary came from Lincoln County and helped us and was very, very complimentary of what the ladies have done. Yep. Everybody's done their part, left everybody a nice note and said, this is much, much, much better. So,
thank you for that.
At what point do we start seeking resumes or whatever?
Well, that's something that we were going to discuss with the auditors because they were the one that recommended we wait. So it's just a discussion that needs to be had and see if we can go ahead and advertise.
We're already working with GovOS too.
Yes.
We've already got a list of stuff we got to get to them, and that was an exciting kickoff for tax situations.
Okay, let's see here. What do I have? Enjoyed a wonderful breakfast this morning at the Farm City Breakfast out at the Extension District, sponsored by Farm Bureau and a lot of other sponsors on that. Was well worth our time and effort to be there, and just thank them for the invitation. State Fair sign-ups, I have the list if anybody wants to look at it to see what spots are available. If you can work the fair, the county is sponsoring the booth, so it's something that it is Boyle County, so we sponsor that. Magistrate Ellis?
Yes.
I will be absent at our next fiscal court meeting.
Oh, wow.
So you will be exercising your role as Judge Pro Tem in my absence.
Happy to.
Make a motion, we change the date.
Please have a forum.
We might need a sergeant at arms to take care of our colleague down there.
3-minute rule in.
I will be on vacation. And also, before you all leave, please check your mailboxes. I know you're not going to be leaving for a little bit, some of you, but please check your mailboxes on the way out. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn in memory of Father Norman Fisher.
Make that motion.
Second.
Magistrate Cohn, second by Magistrate Gay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. We're adjourned. Our financial advisor, R.J. Palmer, is